Queens now being in the national final since 1978, and they would, with the alumni support that Queens would have in the city of Toronto, is very strong. So Queens would get a large turnout as well. Very many alumni making their way from various points on the map to Kingston today to take in this game between the Gales and the University of Toronto Blues. So it's coming up to be a good game. And mentioning the field conditions, from the center field stripe to the left end zone, it's cleared off most of it on the left-hand side of the west side of the field. On the other side of the field, from the center line to the south goal line, it's just a strip down the center between the hash marks and across the goal lines. And we should mention that the end zones are still covered with snow, so that could be very slippery, Jim, for receivers in the end zone. Running in, it shouldn't be much of an effect, but for receivers trying to run patterns in the end zone, it could have a determining factor on the game.
Well, the Queens coaching staff elected to delay the game and asked Toronto if they'd go with that, and Toronto said, no, we want to play the game at 1 o'clock, so the field is not completely cleaned off, and the Gales will be playing, and UT will be playing with the remaining snow on the field. The two teams get here as they beat their respective rivals in their respective leagues. McGill 5, Queens 36 last week, of course, was the OQFC final result, and on merit of that, Queens gets into this Vanier Cup semi-final. In the OUA, Toronto beat McMaster by a score of 20-16 after coming in second place in the regular season, and that got them into the Vanier Cup. The winner of this game goes on to meet the Calgary Dinosaurs, who won last Friday night's game by a score of 21-12 over the UBC Thunderbirds. So the Dinosaurs are the competition going into the Vanier Cup.
And we should mention, Jim, that coming up at halftime, we'll have an interview with Cam Innes, coach of the Calgary Dinosaurs, who is at the game today, and of course was at the Calgary game last night. Now the Gales will be kicking off. Bill Barable from his own 45-yard line.
Okay, and Barable gets it down here to the Toronto Blues, coming out at the 35-yard line, and that's as far as they'll get on that one.
And John Sapunjas running that 40-yard kickoff back a total of 12 yards to the 35-yard line. So the Gales defensive unit will get their first look at Trevor Miller, John Finlayson, and Andy McVeigh and company. So we'll see what the Gales defensive unit can do against the Toronto offense.
Okay, first time we've seen this offense this year, of course. And John Finlayson is the quarterback, number 15. In the backfield, he's got Andy McVeigh, number 31, and Trevor Miller, of course, 32. And the give to McVeigh. McVeigh goes through for about 8 yards up to the 45-yard line. A pickup of 8 yards for the Blues.
Well, power running that time by McVeigh. He's the fullback in there, and he just took the handoff from Finlayson, picked up about 9 yards, bouncing off a couple of people. And we'll just have to see the Gales. They're starting Shad at linebacker, so he's in there right from the beginning. Langford started there the last 2 games, but Shad's in there now.
Okay, the backs in the pro set again. They've switched positions for this one, and this one to McVeigh on the other side this time, but he's caught in the backfield by Jeff Kyle, and a gain of maybe a yard on that one, Dan.
Well, Gales, Jeff Kyle getting in there to wrap him up, as well as Steve Bodner preventing any forward momentum. So they'll be short of the first down once again, and we'll see what they're going to do on third down. Finlayson showing only half a yard to go to the coaching staff, and it looks like they're going to go for it as Lance Shomek stays on the sideline, and a couple of bigger backs come in, Sean Allen and Ed Bergman for the Toronto Blues.
You mentioned Lance Shomek, number 77, and the kicker and point after attempt person for the Toronto Blues, and he's been a factor for the Blues all year long, and maybe in this game too. So here we go with third down, and a yard needed, a good yard required here by the Toronto Blues. Finlayson at quarterback, and McVeigh gets the call and goes to the line, and it was tough going for him, but he may have picked up the yard required.
Well, he may have, as depend on the placement of the ball, as Finlayson going with a long count that time, hoping to draw some of the Gales offside. But we'll just have to see, as I'm sure they'll have to bring the chains in to measure for, to see if it is a first down. The Gales defensive unit had it pretty well stacked up. If he got it, he just barely got it.
Well, Dan, we mentioned Shomek, the kicker and field goal kicker, and quite a player to look out for the Gales, and we were watching him beforehand, and he was kicking them a good long way, even in this snow. Also want to look out for number 25 at the wide receiver position, Dave Pearson, who was a factor, of course, in the McMaster game that brought Toronto here. Toronto has picked up the first down and maintained possession of the ball. Of course, we also want to look out for number 32, Trevor Miller, who has been outstanding all year long in the OUA for the Toronto Blues at the running back position.
First down for the Blues.
First and 10, and the flip out to Miller. Miller tries the right side, and nope, nothing doing there. Just back to the line of scrimmage for Trevor Miller.
Well, the Gales defensive unit shutting off the right-hand side of the line there for Miller, the short side, and that's where the field is cleared off at that portion. And Phil Marsland shutting it off at the linebacker position for Queens. So no gain for Miller as he just got back to the line of scrimmage, and they'll be 2nd and 10 from the 48-yard line.
Okay, Pearson now wide to the left, and to the right is Andy Lippuck. On this 2nd and 10, and Finlayson will go for the air, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver, Steve Howlett, and he had it, but just couldn't bring it down.
Well, the ball bounced off his hands there, and he had time to bring it in before Jeff Kyle put a hit on him. As with the ball bouncing around, Kyle might have had a shot at going for the interception, but he elected to put a hit on Howlett and make him think about the ball game today. So that forces the Blues into a punting situation, and Lance Shomek will be kicking it away, standing about his own 30-yard line with 12 minutes and 47 seconds to play here in the first quarter, and there's no score so far.
Okay, we will see Queens with their first possession. Shomek just gets the punt away, and a good one coming down here to McKinnon at his own 25, and McKinnon with no room will go down at the 25 for the Gales.
Well, that was a 38-yard kick by Lance Shomek as he was able to get it down McKinnon with no run back, and the Gales will be 1st and 10 from inside their own 25-yard line at the 24.
Okay, the Gales defense do a job. 1 touchdown allowed for the Toronto Blues, but they did hold Trevor Miller to 0 yards on 1 carry on that particular round.
And now Bobby Wright leads the Gales offense here.
Okay, right in there, and he'll go back in the pocket and throw it. Looking out here for O'Doherty, and O'Doherty had it, but couldn't come down with it at the 40-yard line.
Well, play action pass there by Bobby Wright, faking the handoff to Scott Sterling, and Ross O'Doherty cutting right down the 40-yard line, but the ball bounced off his chest and he was unable to make a reception.
Tough break for O'Doherty, as he's usually sure-handed. Last week he made a couple of big catches for the Gales. Scored 2 touchdowns, of course, 1 coming on a run.
Well, now 2nd down and 10 for the Gales from the 25-yard line. 12 minutes now to play on the clock here in the first quarter.
Okay, Wright faking again this time and going back under pressure. He sprints out there, throwing out for the Gales, and it's caught. Caught at the 40-yard line. Bissessar with the ball.
Scott Bissessar making a good reception right in front of Jim Pendergast that time at the 40-yard line. And as well, that ball was thrown low, but Bissessar went down and got it.
Bissessar making 4 catches last week, as he's not had a great season so far this week, but last week he was very prominent in the Gales attack with 4 catches.
Okay, the Gales line coming up: Stefopoulos, McDowell, and Porter, Oakley, and Hudson. And Larson and Pendergast on the ends. Here's the flip out to Sterling. First we've seen of Sterling this game, and he picks up 8 yards for the Golden Gales.
Well, good cutback running by Scott Sterling as the left-hand side was closed off, and he turned it back up the middle, picked up about 8 yards on the carry.
Okay, at the wing-back position, Ross O'Doherty, wide receiver, Bill Barable, and the fullback, Ted Bergeron, halfback, Scott Sterling. And, of course, in a quarterback is Bob Wright, setting up the offense for the Golden Gales as they pick up 8 yards on that run by Sterling, and it's 2nd and 2.
2nd and 2 for the Gales, and they're starting to put a drive together here.
Okay, Wright flips it out to Sterling, and a broken play on that one. Sterling doesn't get it back to the line of scrimmage, and the Gales will be 3rd and 5. That one a little mix-up in the backfield, Dan.
Well, it appeared to be Bobby Wright appeared to want to pitch it out, and Sterling was just standing there, and then when he did get control of it, the Toronto Blues had moved in to the backfield to throw him for a loss of about 3. So the Gales will be forced to kick it away for the first time here as Bill Barable coming in to punt it for the Gales. He'll be standing in the area of his own 30-yard line.
Well, each team gets 1 first down and then have to punt it away. And the Gales will be getting rid of it from their own 35. Tricky field conditions here in that there's snow on one side, but in the middle it's awfully mucky, and completely different field conditions there. There's snow and ice in one area and then some good field on the sidelines. Okay, Barabel gets a punt away coming down to Roger Lippert. Lippert, the all-star, scoops it up at the 35-yard line, gets it to the 40, and the Toronto Blues will have to start it there.
Well, not much room that time for Roger Lippert, as that was only a 4-yard return. Lippert, of course, he led the country in punt returns this year. He is also one of the captains of the Varsity Blues.
Well, now Toronto has their second possession on the day, scrimmaging 1st and 10 from their own 41-yard line.
Okay, the backs in the eye this time. Finlayson at the 40, 1st and 10. No score on the board at the 10:19 mark of the first quarter. Finlayson will go back to pass. Looking out here for 73, Alan Papadakis. And he gets it out to the 52-yard line.
Adam Papadakis wide open on that play, as he had all kinds of time to wait for the ball.
Well, talking with Doug Mitchell last night, he had game films of the Queens-McGill game last week, and he found the Gales' defensive alignment very interesting, but he said in watching it, he was able to figure out what the Gales were trying to do, and he may have seen a couple of weaknesses that the Toronto Blues might try and exploit today. So we'll have to see what Toronto offense can do against this Gales defense.
1st and 10 from the 53. Finlayson flips it out to Miller, and Miller with 3 yards for the Blues.
Well, getting in to trip him up was Ian Deacon, who had slipped down on the play but got a forearm on the leg of Trevor Miller to trip him up. 9 minutes and 40 seconds to play here in the first quarter. No score so far as the Blues find themselves 2nd down and 7 at the Gales' 53-yard line.
Well, more students coming in the gates. A big crowd of people here on the student side here taking in this Vanier Cup semifinal game. Blues just inside Queens territory now. Finlayson on a bit of a broken play of his own, throwing it down here and complete. And the Toronto Blues are going to have 6 points on this one.
Now, well, he stepped out of bounds. Stepping out of bounds there was the receiver on the play.
Andy Philippic.
Number 36, he made that catch right in front of Mark Burley, or behind Burley, as Burley tried to jump up and knock it away, but Philippic made the reception, and he stepped out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. So the Blues on a big play there have the ball well in Gales field territory.
Well, Philippic looked like he was going to have 6 points as he kept on running, and the Gales were in heavy pursuit, but he did step out of bounds after making the reception. Nevertheless, 1st and 10 now from the 22-yard line. And Finlayson will go back to pass again. Looking out here this time for McVeigh. McVeigh has it and has the 1st down for the Blues at about the 10-yard line.
Well, good play there by John Finlayson, flipping the ball out to the fullback, McVeigh, who sprinted out of the backfield. And the Blues putting an impressive drive together after they could only pick up 1 first down on their first possession. They've marched all the way from their own 42-yard line, and they're now 1st and 10 from outside the Gales 10-yard line at about the 11. Gales defensive unit needs to come up big here early to try and hold this Toronto attack.
Okay, 1st and 10 from the 11. They can get a 1st down without scoring a touchdown here. Finlayson back in the pocket looking for the end zone, and touchdown Blues, and the pass to number 73, Adam Papadakis, and a touchdown for the Varsity Blue, make it 6-0.
Well, Papadakis making that reception right on the goal line as he was hit by Ian Deacon, but he did have 1 foot in the end zone. That's all it takes, and the Toronto Blues, with 8 minutes and 24 seconds to play in the first quarter, have gone ahead by a score of 6-0, and Lance Shomek will be attempting the point after.
Okay, 11-yard pass makes it 6-0. And we'll see Shomek on the point after attempt here, and it's good, and the Toronto Blues are up 7-0 over the Golden Gales with 8:24 remaining here in the first quarter of the Vanier Cup semifinal game.
Well, a good march there by Finlayson as he basically went with the pass on that play as he hit Hallett on the big play down the sideline, number 30, or rather Philippic, making the reception in front of the Gales bench and beating Mark Burley on the play.
Well, all the predictions before this game, including our own, Dan, said they'd be running the ball very steadily, and in fact they are throwing the ball on that possession. They did throw the ball. In the previous one, they ran the ball a little bit more and didn't make the 1st downs necessary, so the Toronto Blues going to the air, and they do have some valuable receivers that they can go to. Dave Pearson, 25, we haven't seen even make a catch today, but Andy McVeigh has made one at the fullback position. Adam Papadakis has been strong, making 2 or 3 receptions, and Andy Philippic also. And number 71, Steve Howlett, has made one also. the Toronto Blues are pretty gifted with the receivers, and so they can also go to that way on this one. They do have the wind at their back, of course. Okay, Shomek kicking off after the touchdown, and Ross O'Doherty takes it for the Gales. Ross O'Doherty to the 20, and he still has some room. O'Doherty out to the 35 and the 40. Nice run back by Ross O'Doherty.
Big run back by O.D. there. A 63-yard kickoff by Lance Shomek. And Ross O'Doherty came up with a big 34-yard run back to get the ball back out to the Gales' 40-yard line. So O'Doherty picking that ball up inside his own 5, and now they have it at the 40 on a big run back there. So the Gales' offensive unit has it first and 10 from their own 40-yard line.
Okay, and Wright with motion to the right now. Goes back in the pocket. Looking out here for Bissessar, and incomplete over Bissessar's head at about the center field stripe, and the Gales will bring it back and try it again on 2nd and 10 from the 40.
Well, Bobby Wright not showing any fear of going back and throwing the ball up. You mentioned that we had, and everyone else had predicted pretty well a running attack today, but that was when the weather forecast was calling for wind and blowing snow today. But it's a beautiful day for football. The sun is shining. It's just that the field conditions are probably more conducive to running the ball, as it is quite mucky on the field, as you mentioned.
Well, the main threat the Gales throwing it is safety Roger Limit, number 21, and an all-star. But right back to pass again. This one for Pendergast, and he gets it up to center field stripe and out of bounds. Pendergast fumbled the ball, but it fumbled out of bounds, so the Gales will maintain possession of it. He got about 15 yards on the play.
Well, a big play there by Pendergast as he was hit down on the far side of the field. Roger Lippert making the tackle on him. And Pendergast fumbling the ball, but he fumbled it out of bounds. So first down for the Gales as the Gales get a break there on the play.
First and 10 from just inside their own center field stripe now at the 54-yard line. The Gales with the 3 backs in there now. O'Doherty goes over to the wingback position. The give here to Sterling off tackle, and nothing doing for Sterling as he just gets it back to the line of scrimmage.
Frank Cigliolini making the first hit on Scott Sterling there, coming out of the backfield. Moving up to help out was the safety, Steve Tabarek. So Bissessar thrown for a loss there.
Gales have to look for number 54, too, Eric Upshaw, the all-Canadian tackle on the defensive line for the Toronto Blues. And, of course, he's lining up beside gold guard Tony McDowell, captain and all-star for the Golden Gales. Okay, right on a 2nd and 11 yards now, going for Bissessar, and it's intercepted. And number 24, Bill Morissati, bringing it back, and he gets it to the center field stripe for the Toronto Blues, and they have good field position.
Well, Morissati had 1 interception against McMaster for the Toronto Blues, but there is a flag down on the play.
And he got it back to the center field stripe, and I think the penalty will be tacked on either way after that. And it'll be going against the Toronto Blues, but they will maintain possession of the ball. On that one, Masadi made a mistake by trying the other side of the field, and when he was tackled, a shower of snowballs came down from the Queens fans on the other side. Maybe a factor, of course, in this game is not only is there snow on the field, but the fans have a good supply up there as well. Toronto Blues first and 10 now with the penalty back at their own 47-yard line. And Finlayson will give it to the second man through Miller, and Miller gets tripped up in the backfield. Let's see who that was for the Gales, who made a great play. And it's already getting hard to pick up people's numbers. I think that was Kynock. It was Kynock in the backfield who tripped up Miller early, and Miller just gets it not even back to the line of scrimmage.
So Trevor Miller has not been effective so far as a running back today for the Toronto Blues, as he has just picked up 2 yards on 3 carries. So the Gales seem to have solved Miller, but they have to solve the passing attack of Finlayson.
Okay, 2nd and 11. Finlayson under some pressure, and he goes down. Oh, that may be solving the passing attack of Finlayson, as Bodner was in there and brings down Finlayson way deep in his own zone.
Well, if you do that enough times, they sacked Jamie Crawford a couple of times last week against McGill, and the Gales getting in there to sack Finlayson. So that makes it 3rd down for the U of T Blues, and they'll be kicking it away to the Gales.
Okay, Shomek will be standing at his own 25-yard line. He fumbles the snap and just gets it away in time. Big rush there but he gets it away. Now McKinnon fumbles the ball at the other end, but he falls on it just in time. And he holds the ball at the 37-yard line, a 35-yard kick on that one. And, of course, a no-yard return there as McKinnon could only just fall on it.
Lance Shomick doing a great job getting that kick away. He, of course, injured a tendon in the arch of his kicking foot, and it's not going to affect his field goal kicking and kickoffs, but it might affect his punting somewhat.
Well, he got that one away, although he was under pressure and had trouble with the snap.
Okay, the Gales with the 1st and 10. Fake to Sterling, and Wright goes back to pass. Some pressure in the backfield, and Wright will run it himself. Gains 5 yards before taking it out of bounds.
And going into the snowbank there was big number 75 of the University of Toronto Blues, Joel Trickey. He was a second-team All-Star for the Blues, and he got arose a laugh out of the Gale supporters on the far side as he tripped over the snowbank.
He drew some artillery fire on that one as well.
Sure did.
Number 54, Eric Upshaw, the All-Canadian, was in the backfield chasing Wright around that time, and he was primarily responsible for making Wright sprint out of the
Under 5 minutes. Sorry, Jim, under 5 minutes to play. The score, 7 for Toronto, none for the Gales, and Queens are 2nd and 6 from their own 44-yard line.
Okay, and on this one, they'll give to Sterling. He'll try the right-hand side. Sterling going for the sidelines and didn't make the first down. He'll be a couple of yards short still.
Could be a face masking call here, as that was a very high tackle on Scott Sterling. Just have to wait for...
Well, the penalty holding against the Gales. I believe Mike Shadd, Mark Oakley leading the blocking out there. And he was guilty of holding. So with the Gales, Sterling not getting close to the first... Well, he's about 2 yards short of the first down. And we'll have to see what the Toronto Blues elect to do, whether they'll give Gales the ball second down over again. Well, they elect to decline it. And that means Barable will be having to come on to kick the ball away for the Gales with 4 minutes and 38 seconds to play here. The Gales are third down and 3.
So the Gales will be punting the ball as they haven't played yet in the Toronto end of the field so far in the first quarter, with 4:31 showing here on the clock. The Gales down by 7 points will be punting it away to the Toronto Blues. And Roger Lippert, the speedy back, will be awaiting it at his own 30-yard line. And Barable gets a decent punt away this time, and he'll bring it out to the 40-yard line. A return of just 2 yards after a 26-yard kick for Barable. And so the Toronto Blues will have another chance here. The defense came up very big for the Gales on the last rush, but Toronto Blues have put together a steady offense on the rush that culminated in a touchdown, Dan.
Well, that's right, Jim, and in the kicking game, Chomick has so far dominated. Of course, as you mentioned, he is kicking with the wind at his back and Barable the wind in his face, and that may switch around later in the game. Anyway, the Blues are 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line.
Okay, Finlayson gives it to Miller, and again, Miller has trouble up the middle.
And not only are the players getting abused here, the cheerleaders as well for the Varsity Blues are getting fire from snowballs. That's from the alumni side. 7-0 is the score. Varsity Blues leading. 3:36 left in the first quarter.
Well, Miller picked up about 3 yards on the play. It's now 2nd and 7 for the Blues from the Gale, or from their own 44.
Okay, Finlayson back in the pocket to pass. A little sneak pass out here to Miller, and Miller doesn't get the first down, but gets close as he's just 1 yard short.
Well, that was shoveled ahead from Finlayson to Trevor Miller, and it almost caught the Gales by surprise, but getting back to make the tackle, moving up on it as well, was Mark Burley to come in and knock Miller down, and they're about a yard short of the first down. And they're bringing in the bigger backs once again, Ed Bergman and Sean Allen. And coming out of the game are the receivers. Number 25, Dave Pearson, number 71, Steve Hollett. So they're bringing the big people in, and another third down gamble here for the Blues.
Okay, 3rd down and 1 from the 50. And Finlayson gives it off up the middle, and I think they will have the first down there, Dan.
I think they do. The forward momentum of Andy McVeigh, the back that the ball was handed to, should move the ball up over the 51-yard line.
Well, the Gales' Dave Dakers indicating that maybe they stopped him on that one, so we'll have to wait for the measurement.
Well, they will be bringing the chains in as he They were at the 50-yard line, and they had to get to the 51.
The Gales will have excellent field position if they did stop them here.
It would be the first time the Gales would be scrimmaging the ball in the Toronto end as they about to put the chains down here. And it is just long enough for the first down. So the Blues, last time on the third down gamble, they had it by well over the length of the football. That was just the nose of the football contacting the chain. And the Blues keep a drive alive here with 2.5 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Okay.
Toronto leading 7-0.
First and 10 now from the 51. Boy, he just made that as he doesn't look like he got a whole yard from where the ball spotted. And the give to McVeigh. And McVeigh picks up 4 yards on the play. 2 minutes and 7 seconds showing on the clock. Toronto up 7-0 over the Golden Gales here just in the first quarter of this Vanier Cup semifinal. Okay, and 2nd and 6 yards required here for the Toronto Blues. Finlayson with Pearson wide to the left, and over here Philippuck wide to the right. Pearson goes to the air and gives it off to McVeigh. McVeigh's got the first down and out of bounds at the Queen's 43-yard line.
And McVeigh tackle on the play by Mark Burley, and Burley appears to be shaken up a little bit right in front of the Gales bench as he was hit hard there by McVeigh. McVeigh, the big fullback for the Blues, and he outweighs Mark Burley by about 20 pounds or so, and he gave Burley a hit there. And now John Thompson, number 10, coming into the Gales huddle to replace Burley, who now making his way to his feet. But a first down for the Toronto Blues as McVeigh making that reception on the screen pass from Finlayson. And their 1st and 10 from the Gales' 40-yard line.
Burley is up and walking under his own steam at the bench area there. And looks like he will be okay, although he did take a hard hit when he tried to tackle McVeigh on that one. Toronto Blues moving the ball successfully again after picking up that 3rd down gamble for the first down, and now it's 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. In motion to the left now, the flip out to McVeigh. McVeigh tries the middle, and he's got the first down again over to the Gales' 28-yard line.
Well, a good play there as the pitch was faked to Trevor Miller, and then Finlayson handed off to McVeigh, and he just stormed through the line there as he was bounced off a couple of Gales, and he appears to be the dominant runner so far in the game as he has picked up 27 yards on 6 carries. First down for the Blues on the Gales' 28-yard line.
1st and 10 from the 28. And just a minute left here in the first quarter. Again, the shovel pass up to Miller, and that time he got nowhere from the line of scrimmage. Mike Schad making him think about that one with a hard hit.
Mike Schad was not fooled on that one, as they used that once before and it worked quite well, but this time Mike Schad hit Miller as soon as he caught the ball.
Well, 2nd down and 9 now for the Blues.
Well, Mark Burley has made his way back into the game, and he is at the left corner position for the Gales once again.
The Toronto Blues have done well on these 2nd down and long yards so far today, and this may be the deciding factor in the game so far is Toronto's ability to do this. Okay, Finlayson throwing it. This time it's not going to work. John Corrigan on the interception, and Corrigan brings it back to the 35-yard line. Nice play by Corrigan.
It certainly was, and that brings the crowd alive. With just under half a minute to play here in the first quarter, John Corrigan picked it off. Intended receiver, I believe, on the play was number 71, Steve Howlett, as he tried to go for the reception.
Well, there's Corrigan coming off the field, and a good play by him keeps the Gales' hopes alive here by turning things around, and the Gales get it with just 14 seconds showing on the clock here in the first quarter. They'll get one play off. Wright gives it off to O'Doherty. Room for O'Doherty to move. He gets it up to the 45-yard line to the 50, and the center field stripe. Nice running by Ross O'Doherty, and the Gales fans go crazy on the other side. Just 2 seconds left here in the first quarter, and O'Doherty with a big pickup and some fancy running as he spun to get away from a couple of tackles there.
Well, he spun away from the big defensive end for the Toronto Blues, Rob Taylor. But O'Doherty, as you mentioned, showing very good speed, and there's appears to be an injured Gale on the field.
Well, Sterling making a block on the play has gone down on one knee after that play and is just recuperating from a bit of an injury here, it looks like, and the Gales trainer's out there on the field, and Sterling will sit out a couple of plays.
Well, they send number 31, Jamie McKinnon, in to replace Scott Sterling. McKinnon picked up a touchdown in the game last week, late in the game, and hope it's not that shoulder injury which Scott Sterling suffered earlier in the game, early in the season, rather.
Well, the Gales indicate that they don't have a quarterback to tell them what play to do there, so Wright is back on the field. And this will be the last play of the first quarter here. No time left on the clock. And the Gales are 1st and 10 from the center field stripe. The give to Bergeron. Bergeron stopped at the line of scrimmage. And that's it for the first quarter of action. We'll be back with the second quarter in a moment.
Keeping you in touch with what's going on in Kingston, we're CableNet 13, alternative viewing for the community.
Lose by a score of 7-0, but the Gales on a march as Ross O'Doherty made a big gain moving the ball out to the center field stripe, and now the Gales are 2nd and 10 after Bergeron picked up no yards, and the fans really came alive with that O'Doherty run back. Now Bobby Wright back to pass, looking over the middle for Pendergast, and it's picked off, or incomplete rather, as going for that ball was number 30, John Sapungis, the deep midi, or rather Roger Lippert. He's a ball hawk all year for the Blues. And Pendergast was in a crowd that time and couldn't come up with the reception.
Well, Lippert very close to getting that interception. He, of course, is their all-star defensive back and one of the defensive captains. And so far, there's only been one turnover in this game, and that was by the free safety of the Queens Golden Gales, John Corrigan. And that's why we have this drive here.
Well, the drive stalls here. As Corrigan intercepting for the Gales, Morissette intercepting for the Toronto Blues. And the high snap, but gets it away, and he is hit. And a flag is thrown. The ball is caught by number 20 for the Toronto Blues, Steve Tabarak. But penalty of attacking the kicker, I'm sure, as getting in on it was number 75, Joel Trickey. And we'll have to see what the decision is.
Well, that'll be a first down if it is roughing the kicker. Not a very good kick there, only 20 yards, but you can't blame Bill Variable on that as it was partially blocked.
Well, roughing the kicker penalty is the call, and that will give the Gales unit second life here with 14 minutes, 24 seconds to play in the second quarter. The Gales trailing the Blues by a score of 7-0 after getting in the end zone for the touchdown for the Blues in that first quarter was Adam Padakis.
Should mention again, Dan, that the Calgary Dinosaurs were victorious last night in the WISL by a score of 21-12 over UBC. So the winner of this one will meet the Dinosaurs in the Vanier Cup at Bird Stadium next week.
Well, here comes up as Bobby Wright leads the Gales off out of the field for second life here. So they have where the ball was scrimmaged. So field stripe. So Joel Trickey and the Gales to Ross O'Doherty going around the right-hand side of the line. He's up over the 40 to the 40. Pushes this little Ross O'Doherty. Blues on the snow-covered. Backfield. Getting in was Frank Ciulini to wrap him up for a loss in the backfield at the 45-yard line. So making a loss of about 3 for the Gales.
That play a little slow to develop. It looked like Wright just had a little trouble finding the grip on the ball before he pitched it out to O'Doherty there, and a little hesitation might have caused that play to be caught in the backfield.
Good point, Jim. O'Doherty didn't quite have the time to just make that one move on the varsity blue coming in, and that's what cost them that loss.
Well, a big play here for the Gales defensive unit. 13.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. And the handoff this time to Scott Sterling. He tries to go around the left-hand side of the line, but no place to go there for him, and flags down on the play. There was movement on the Gales line as O'Doherty may have jumped offside from his wingback position, but we'll have to see what the official call will be.
Procedure it is against the Golden Gales.
And we'll probably see the Blues decline that penalty, as it would result in a 3rd down and long situation for Queens.
And it is declined as Eric Upshaw, consulting the official, decided to decline it and force the Gales into a punting situation here with Bill Barabo kicking.
7-0 is the score. 13 minutes, 16 seconds to play here in the second quarter, and the Gales' offensive drive stalls here at the Toronto Blues 45-yard line, and Bill Barabo will be kicking it away. Barabo standing at the Gales' 53-yard line. He has the wind at his back for this kick. And it's a high snap over Barabo's head, but he still gets it away. And a good kick into the wind coming down. It's going to be taken by Steve Turek, number 27 there, getting around the right-hand side of the line, and he's hit hard. The ball pops loose, and jumping on it, and Gales recover. The Queens Golden Gales. I can't pick out the number who recovered the ball, but on the 15-yard line, the Gales will have a first down in that 39-yard kick by Barabo, a 10-yard return, but fumbling the ball.
Roger Lippert, you don't see him do that too often, the all-star safety, as that is a big turnover for the Gales and gives them excellent field position at the Varsity Blues 18-yard line.
What a strange play, as out the snap was too high for Barabo. He had to run all the way back for it and just let go. A beautiful punt, too, after being under pressure to get rid of it. Came down at the 5-yard line to Lippert, and then he coughs up the ball, and the Gales come up with it. Definitely their best field position of the game. And let's just hope the Gales can do something with it. They need that touchdown to tie things up here and make this a ball game.
They certainly do, Jim, and as you mentioned, that was quite a strange play. Barabo under pressure getting it away, and then Lippert making the fumble.
Barabo doing an excellent job handling that high snap as he had to really jump up for it and control it, and lots of pressure, and just got a beauty away. 7-0 is the score. Varsity Blues leading. We're 12:44 left to play in this first half.
There is an injured player on the field. That is Roger Lippert, and he is now getting on his feet, making his way off under assistance from the training staff. So the Gales will be first down and 10 from about the 18-yard line of the Toronto Blues. And will the Gales offensive unit getting second life on this drive several times as the roughing the kicker penalty against Tricky. And now a fumble by Roger Lippert. So the Gales offensive unit getting some help from the Blues secondary specialty teams.
Well, the Gales defense and specialty teams have done their job all year long, getting the ball up for the Queens offense to work with, and this time no exception as they hammer Lippert hard enough to make him throw the ball away.
And they hammered him hard enough that he has to be assisted off the field. And now Queens first and 10 from the Toronto Blues 18-yard line, and coming up over the ball is now Bobby Wright, sending Bissessar wide to the right. O'Doherty in the left slot. The backs are in the slot position, and Bobby Wright play action, back to pass, looking in the end zone for Pendergast. Touchdown Gales! Jim Pendergast on an 18-yard touchdown pass from Bobby Wright, and the Gales have now made the score 7-6.
Wow, no wasting time on that turnover as the offense produced the 6 points right away on the very first play after getting the ball. Pendergast deep, he was wide open, and Wright good ability to find him as he was under all kinds of pressure, and that is 61st touchdown pass of Bobby Wright's career.
Well, a big play by the Gales after the fumble by Lippert, and Oilth out of bounds on the far side of the field. And now Bill Barabo will be attempting to put through the single point here, the convert. Oregon holding. The ball is down, Barabo puts it up, and it's good, and the Queens Golden Gales have now tied the University of Toronto Blues at 7, and the Gales, they looked down a little bit after the touchdown in the first quarter, Jim, but they come back hard here in the second quarter.
Well, the Gales are going with their strength in there on the offense, too, with Pendergast and O'Doherty. O'Doherty's been fighting, as you say, in there and running the ball for the Gales, and Pendergast has come up with the one big reception on the second possession there to get them the first down, and now scoring the TD also. So the veterans coming through for the Gales.
Well, now the Gales fans are alive in the far
On a 57-yard kickoff by Barabel. Very deep kick for Barabel on that one.
Well, now the Blues offense unit comes on the field. And we'll see what they can do, as they have not had a possession so far here in this second quarter. As on the 2 times Gales had to turn the ball over, they got it back. One by a penalty, the other on the fumble by Roger Lippert. Finlayson, 1st and 10 from his own 20-yard line. Has one back in the backfield, hands it off to McVeigh. He goes straight ahead, but is wrapped up and makes a gain of about 4 yards.
McVeigh, the very prominent man for the Varsity Blues so far in this game, is Trevor Miller. The way the conditions are, Trevor Miller is a speed back and likes to go to the outside, and it's just too slippery for him to do so. He's been very ineffective.
Big play here for the Gales, 2nd down and 6 from the Gales' 24-yard line. Finlayson with the backs in the pro set, hands off once again to McVeigh. He's held short of the 1st down by the Gales. And
okay, Toronto Blues have tried it twice here on 3rd down, and both times they made it, but this time the ball's closer to their own end zone, and we'll have to see if they decide again. Here comes Chomick, and they'll be punting the ball away.
Well, that's right, Jim. They're quite deep in their own zone to be trying a 3rd down gamble, as they have about 2 yards to go to pick up the 1st down, so Chomick coming on.
Another Varsity Blue is injured on the play, and quite a few. This is the 3rd person to go down. Of course, nothing's been severe so far, but he seems to be in quite a bit of pain, as now the Varsity Blues trainers are helping him off the field. So he's slowly up to his feet. Can't quite get the number. It appears to be an ankle.
Well, it is number 31, McVeigh. So that would be a severe loss to the Toronto Blues, as he has been their power back running so far today.
And he's going to need some more help, as they're waving another player and an assistant onto the field to help him off. And that is not good for the Varsity Blues, as McVeigh has been the leading ball carrier for the Varsity Blues, 8 rushes for 35 yards.
And Trevor Miller has just picked up 5 yards, so helping McVeigh off the field now. And he is not putting any weight at all on that left ankle, as they are taking him off the field very slowly. And that would be a severe loss to the Blues, as McVeigh getting a hand from the alumni side of the field here, making his way off. So the Blues moving in a fullback now. Sean Allen, number 39, will be in the backfield.
He's primarily their blocking back, Dan, and he hasn't had much of a chance to run the ball this season.
Well, Shomek will be kicking the ball away for the Blues, handles the snap at the 15, gets it away under pressure, and hangs it up high. Coming down, taking it for the Gales is Corrigan. He goes straight ahead. Flag on the play, indicating no yards, as that 26-yard kick was run back 2 yards by John Corrigan. But as I mentioned, a flag on the play, and the Gales could get very good field position here once again.
Close call on that one, I thought, Mark, as the Toronto Blues were being patient on that one, and it looked like they were almost 5 yards off, but clearly not enough, as the Gales will pick up the 15 yards.
Good point, Jim. Very close, as Corrigan caught that on the dead run.
Well, that's right, Mark. Corrigan been catching the ball on the run. He's been doing that all season, and it worked there as he made the reception and stepped up, and it created the illusion that the Blues were in restraining zone of 5 yards. So the Gales now have a 1st down and 10 from the Toronto Blues 38-yard line. The score is tied at 7 with 10 minutes and 50 seconds to play. Right, has Bissessar wide to the right. Play action once again. Over the middle for Pendergast at the 25. Fumbles the ball. And dropping on it is the Blues. And they mark it a fumble and a recovery, as Jim Pendergast was hit hard there, I believe. Morris Martin making the contact on Bissessar, or rather Pendergast, and it's a turnover for the Blues.
Well, another close call there, as Pendergast didn't have the ball very long to have possession. Tough call by the officials, and that's unfortunate for the Gales, as they were enjoying excellent field position from the Varsity Blues 40-yard line, but they have to give the ball up. And let's see what Finlayson and company can do here.
Good call, I thought, on the play, actually, as Pendergast did look like he had reception on that one. A very nice hit by the Blues.
Well, McVeigh in the backfield has been replaced by Allen. And now dropping back to pass is Finlayson, looking over the middle, gives it to Steve Allen. He's under pursuit, and he is tripped up, but not before he picks up a 1st down, as Burley tripped him up. And Allen showing that he is quite a capable replacement there for McVeigh.
Dan, I understood Sean Allen was a blocking back, but he certainly turned on the jets on that one, as he turned the corner and outraced Bodner.
Well, he was also being pursued by Marsland, and he just pulled away from Marsland like any speedster could. And now, big play there by the Blues. 10 minutes to play. The score is tied at 7. 1st and 10 from the Blues' 35-yard line. And dropping back to pass once again is Finlayson. Looking over the middle. It's Black getting in there. On it was Phil Marsland, and he just batted that ball right out of Finlayson's hand. And picking it up and running it in for the Gales was Jackson, but it was marked as an incomplete pass. So a big play there by the Gales defensive line. And it's now 2nd down and 35. A flag down back on the play. Down in the center field area. It may be a pass interference penalty, as we'll just have to see as the ball is being brought back against the Gales.
Holding, defensive holding.
Well, a holding penalty against the Gales as the ball, that was quite a ways away from the play. So we didn't pick up the number of who was caught for that holding infraction, but it gives the Toronto Blues a 1st down at their own 45-yard line, so they get a second chance here. Going out wide to the left, Pearson and Philippuk. And backs are in the eye. Finlayson back to pass, looking over the middle, and right at the stripe on the far side of the field is Dave Pearson, and he has a 1st down.
Super catch by Dave Pearson as he dove for that ball. Very slippery out there. Pearson, of course, he was the OUAA Player of the Week as he just had a great game last week. 8 catches for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was last week's hero against the McMaster Marlins, scoring the winning touchdown.
Now big 1st down for the Blues inside the Gales territory at the 54-yard line. Backs are in the pro set. Finlayson going with the pass, and once again he's under pursuit and wrapped up, but he gets the ball away, intercepted by number 51, Joe Valente, and the Gales once again getting the ball back on a key interception there by number 51, Joe Valente.
Well, unfortunately, Finlayson should have hung on to that ball, but he was trying to force a play, and that was his mistake as Bodner tackled Finlayson just as he threw the ball in. Valente, the linebacker, came up with the interception, and so another turnover for the Gales, and we'll just have to see.
Well, so far in the game, Finlayson is 9 for 11 in the passing for 110 yards, but he's had 2 interceptions, one by Corrigan and that one by Valente. Play action once again for the Gales. Bobby Wright over the middle. Pendergast has it, and he wraps it up tight that time and holds on at the Blues' 35-yard line. He was wrapped up by the middle linebacker for the Blues, Frank Balkovec.
Well, Pendergast hanging on that time for dear life as he just squeezed that ball and absorbed the hit. That's 4 catches for Pendergast for 67 yards. Ryland Coyne doing a great job here as their statistician.
Well, Pendergast, the workhorse in the air for the Gales, and O'Doherty, the workhorse on the ground. Bissessar wide to the right this time for the Gales, and once again handing off to Scott Sterling is Bobby Wright, and he goes ahead and picks up about 4 yards on the play, as Bissessar showing no ill effects of the temporary injury which put him out of the game for a couple of plays.
So far they haven't run too much inside, Dan. The Gales have, as of course the defensive line of the U of T Blues is their strength.
Well, the Gales came out running the ball up the middle a lot, and then decided to go to the air when it was working for the U of T, and the run wasn't working terribly effectively.
Well, Bobby Wright back to pass on play action this time, swinging out to Pendergast at the 20. He's got it and out of bounds at the 18-yard line, and Jim Pendergast is a workhorse in the air for the Gales, picking up another 1st down there for Queens, and they now are well with deep in Blues territory here. 8:06 to play. The score is tied at 7.
Impressive drive by the Gales after Valente intercepted that Finlayson pass, and now they're deep in the Varsity Blues zone at their own 18-yard line.
1st and 10 from the 18 are the Gales. Under 8 minutes to play here. And Bobby Wright with Bissessar to the right once again. Play action for the Gales in the end zone, but it's overthrown as Scott Bissessar was being tied up there by Morris Martin. And no penalty on the play as Bissessar was to run a deep route that time, but he bumped into Martin right at the goal line.
If that isn't interference, I don't know what is, Dan, as Mo Martin was all over Scott Bissessar. Of course, Mo Martin, he came up with a big interception in the end zone last weekend against McMaster to snuff out one of their drives.
Well, that ball was thrown well to the back of the end zone. And now second down and 10 for the Gales. 7.5 minutes to play. The score is tied at 7. Both Bissessar and O'Doherty wide to the left. And right back once again to pass. He's under pressure, throwing it in for Pendergast, and it's, knocked out in the end zone there by Martin. And again, bumping before the play between Pendergast and Martin, but no flag on the play as Wright lucky to get that ball away under pressure.
And also fortunate that the Varsity Blues didn't intercept that. And so it looks like Barrable will attempt a field goal here. It'll come from about the 27-yard line, 26-yard line.
Well, Barrable missed 2 early in the game last week against McGill, but then he hit on 2 straight after that. So with Corrigan holding, we'll see what Barrable can do from the 26-yard line. 7:08 on the clock. Corrigan handles the snap. Barrable puts it up, but it's wide and going into the end zone, and it goes out the end as number 21, Roger Lippert, chases it down. So the Gales have gone ahead by a single point here as Bill Barrable kicks a 26-yard single on a missed field goal attempt. So with 6:57 to play in the second quarter, the Gales lead the Blues by a score of 8-7.
Oh, Barrable feels very wet and probably didn't quite get the footing he wanted to put some power behind that kick. And unfortunately, it went wide. Roger Lippert, we saw him out there staying back to either run the ball out or concede the single, so he's healthy as he was shaken up earlier with an ankle injury.
Now the Blues take over on offense, 1st and 10 from their own 35. And McVeigh is back in the backfield for the Blues. And Finlayson with the backs rolls them out to the right-hand side, and Finlayson throws it out and goes to number 32, Miller. And he's tackled down with no gain as he was out of bounds there, chased by number 55, Mike Shadd.
Well, Miller juggling that ball, it didn't quite have possession of it, and he paid the prices. It cost him some time to turn it upfield, and he's hit quite heavily out of bounds.
Well, the Gales put together a big, impressive drive there after the interception by Joe Valente and marched it down to inside the 25-yard line of the Blues, and then Barrable missing on the field goal attempt. And now second down and 10 for Toronto from their own 35. The backs are split. Paulette moves out to the left. The backs roll out now. Finlayson back to pass once again. He's got time. He double pumps, and he is in the sack. Getting in on him there was number 55, or rather 56, Steve Bodnar. And the Gales defensive unit comes up big, and they'll get the ball back.
Just a great job by Norm Fenning to cover Dave Pearson, who was player of the week last week. And that's who Finlayson was looking for, and he pumped once, but Fenning was covering him well, so Finlayson looked to his secondary receivers and didn't have the time, and the Gales came up with the sack.
Well, Fenning showing why he was an OQ All-Star at that position, the cornerback position. So with 6:02 to play here in the second quarter, the Gales up by a score of 8-7, and Chomik standing at his own 15-yard line. Handles the snap this time, gets it away, almost blocked. Dakers getting in there. It's a short kick coming down, and falling on it by the Gales, and another no-yards penalty. As very good play there. Falling on it was number 50, Gary Kynock, and number 21, Roger Lippert for the Blues, was in the 5-yard restraining area.
Well, only an 18-yard punt by Lance Chomik on that one. But to his credit, there's all kinds of pressure. It was almost blocked as Dave Dakers almost got a hand on it.
Well, that's very surprising to me here, as the flag should not have been dropped. I can't understand why that would happen, as there's no yards on the play, and they're explaining that now to the Gales offensive captain, Bobby Wright, a quarterback, as perhaps Dakers may have tipped that ball, and then that would mean one of the Gales had already touched it.
I think one of the Gales, maybe Dave Dakers, touched it on the punt, and then it was a live ball from that point of view. So the Gales don't have the pleasure of getting the no yards penalty. The Gales have the momentum with them if they can only put it in the end zone now.
Well, 1st and 10 from the 45. Wright pitches out to Sterling around the left-hand side of the line. He's under pursuit and gets back to the line of scrimmage and no more. As getting up to make the tackle on him was number 72, Bob Harris.
Roger Lippert, of course, also in there, and good job by the secondary to come up against the run and stop Sterling from turning that corner. Sterling, 7 carries for only 11 yards, so they've really shut down Scott Sterling.
Doherty's been the big man for the Gales, 3 carries for 31 yards. 5 minutes to play here in the second quarter. The Gales leading 8-7, and Bissessar and O'Doherty wide to the right this time. Looking down is Wright under pressure over the middle to Bergeron, wide open, and Bergeron is tackled down, but making only a gain of about 5. as he was tied up before he reached the 40-yard line, and a rough penalty call coming up here, I'm sure, as number 65, Rob Taylor, just threw one of the Gales players to the ground on the play after the whistle had gone.
Well, Rob Taylor, he's a rookie in the Blues lineup, and that is a very foolish penalty to take because Gales would have had to give up the ball there as they didn't get the first down, but now this will give them new life.
Well, a 10-yard penalty, that moves the ball into the Toronto Blues 31-yard line. So Taylor, you're right there, Mark, as the Gales would have been third down and about 6. But now they're first down and 10 from the Toronto Blues 36-yard line. 4 minutes, 44 seconds to play here in the second quarter. The Queens leading 8-7. And play action once again for Wright, dropping back to pass, looking down for O'Doherty, and incomplete, as covering him was the deep safety, Bill Morissetti. And Bissessar battling him, but could not come up with the reception.
Good coverage by Bill Morissetti, as he had, that was O'Doherty, as he had him covered all the way.
O'Doherty's slowing him down a little bit to make the reception because he was wide open when the throw was made. And I think just a little bit behind him made him slow down, and Morissetti had a chance to catch up and make the play.
Well, the Gales need a big play here on 2nd and 10 to keep this drive alive. As Bissessar wide to the right, play action once again under pressure is Wright over the middle, and with the reception, I believe that's Larson. And he makes the reception in first down territory. That's who it is, number 19, Larson, on his first catch of the day. And the Gales have a first down inside the Blues 20-yard line at the 18.
Great catch by John Larson to get the first down. Just ran his route, made sure he was in first down territory, and hung on to that ball as the ball is very slippery.
Well, super pass by Bobby Wright on the play.
Larson just made 2 great catches last week, taking hits from all directions on both catches. 2 catches for 25 yards. That is his first catch of the afternoon today.
Well, a big first down for the Gales at the Toronto Blues 18-yard line. With 4 minutes and 6 seconds to play here in the second quarter, Queens holding to a slim 8-7 lead.
Seeing this wind playing somewhat of a factor as the Gales have the wind here in the second quarter, and they've been, for most of the second quarter, have been in the Varsity Blues end.
And that's the Blues are in the Gales end most of the first quarter. Now 1st and 10 for the Gales. Wright back to pass, swinging out to Bissessar. He's got it, but can't hold on. As he went up to make the reception, but coming back down, making contact with the ground, he dropped it inside the 15. So Bissessar was wide open on the play, but he could not make the reception. All the scoring coming so far in the game. The Toronto Blues made it 7-0 in the first quarter with a Finlayson to Papadakis 11-yard touchdown. And then the Gales connected in the second quarter, Bobby Wright to Jim Pendergast after a Lippert fumble in the second quarter on a punt. That made it 7-7, and then Barrable missed on a 26-yard field goal to make it 8-7. And the handoff straight ahead to Scott Sterling. He's got a hole up the middle, and the first down for the Gales, as the Blues did not expect that at all, as Bobby Wright with a good play selection hands off to Sterling, and he picks up first down inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line.
Great pull by the offensive line to spring Sterling loose, and like you said, Dan, great play selection, as that fooled everybody, especially the defensive linemen of the Varsity Blues. So the Gales will be very deep in Varsity Blues territory.
Well, the Gales have picked up 10 first downs here so far in the game. And now 3 minutes is being whistled in, as 3 minutes and 16 seconds shows on the clock here. And the Gales are first down and goal from the Toronto Blues 8-yard line. And the big play there by Scott Sterling, as he just picked up 12 yards on that run. Bissessar wide to the right, 3 backs in the backfield. Bobby Wright pitches to Ross O'Doherty around the right-hand side. He's spreading it out, trying to turn it up, but he is wrapped up and picks up a gain of about a yard, as the Toronto Blues defensive unit doing a good job to spread it out that time. Frank Balkovic and Frank C.I.A.U making the tackles on Ross O'Doherty there. So minimal gain on the play, as Wright checking with John Lynch on the sideline.
Well, it's imperative that the Gales get a score here, at least a field goal and hopefully a touchdown, because they certainly had the momentum in this quarter, and it would be unfortunate if they couldn't put some points on the board.
2 minutes and 47 seconds. Bobby Wright on play action, dropping back to pass, hits Bergeron. He can't make the reception, as Ted Bergeron bobbled the ball, and number 51, Frank Balkovac, right on top of him. And that makes it now 3rd down for the Gales. And we'll see Bill Barable and John Corrigan come on with a field goal attempt here. They missed one earlier from 26 yards, and this one will probably come from closer in, probably around the 18-yard line.
Well, the noise you hear in the Queen's press box here is the stats guys, and they're talking about Larson being open in the end zone there. The pass went to Bergeron, but Larson was unprotected in the end zone and could have made the reception if Wright had picked him out there.
Well, Bobby Wright having to throw under pressure that time, Jim, as he was on the roll when that pass was released. So I believe a timeout may have been called on the field, as the Toronto Blues defensive captain number 51, Frank Balkovac, talking with the sidelines.
Gales lead it 8-7. Just under 3 minutes left to play here in the first half. Of course, the Varsity Blues, they were behind 16-7 at the half last week against McMaster, and apparently they didn't even get in the other half of McMaster's field, with the exception of the 58-yard bomb to Dave Pearson. So they're almost lucky to be here, as I was talking to the radio station from Toronto, and they said, you know, they were quite fortunate to pull out that win.
Well, this field goal attempt will come from the 16-yard line. Corrigan has the tee placed at that area in the field, and it will be a chip shot for Barable. Nobody back in the end zone for the Blues, so they're going to be coming with 12 guys. And Corrigan puts it down and up, and it's good, and a flag on the play. But Barable puts the field goal through, and I'm sure, well, the penalty is against the Gales, holding penalty on the play. And we'll just see what the Blues elect to do, because the field goal was good. And that penalty would just push the Gales back, and they would give Barable a farther shot at it. Holding against the Gales is the penalty. And that makes it 3rd down, so 5 yards, or 10 yards back will be the play once again here. So we'll have this field goal attempt over again from Bill Barable. This time it will be coming from the 26-yard line. The Blues getting a lot of pressure through the middle there, as they almost got through to block that one, and they'll see if they can get through and block this one. I'm sure that's their strategy here. 2:38 to play here in the second quarter. Corrigan on one knee at the 26-yard line. Nobody back in the end zone again for the Blues. It's a good snap once again. Barable puts it up, and it's good this time as well. No red vinyl on the field. So the Gales have now gone into an 11-7 lead over the Toronto Blues with 2 minutes and 32 seconds to play here in the second quarter.
Sigh of relief there for the coaching staff and all the Gales supporters, as last time Barable missed from about that distance, but this time he put it right through, and no flags. So the Gales go ahead 11-7 late in the second quarter. Only 2:32 left to play in the first half.
Well, that's right. The Gales keeping the play in the Blues end of the field most of the game. And you can tell that by the condition of the field, as it's quite muddy around the Blues' 35-yard line. 1st and 10 now for Toronto from the 35. Motion in the backfield to pitch out to Miller around the right-hand side of the line, but he only gets a couple of yards, as the Gales defense comes up big there. Making the tackle on the play was Rick Prinzen, and Dave Dakers also in on the hit.
Miller very ineffective so far today,
as he has only picked up 7 yards rushing on 5 carries. So the Gales defensive unit has solved Miller so far, but we'll have to see if they can continue to do this as the game continues. 2 minutes and 17 seconds to play here in the second quarter. The Gales band aligning in the north end of the field to come on for the halftime show. Finlayson back to pass under pressure, and right through the hands there of the intended receiver on the play there, number 36, Andy Philippuk, and the ball goes out of bounds, and Lance Shomek now will be forced to kick it away for the Blues.
Andy Philippuk, the all-star receiver for the Varsity Blues, and that one went right through his hands, as I'm sure those balls are getting quite wet. So Lance Shomek once again into action, as he'll have to punt it away here with 3rd and 6 yards to go.
The Gales got a lot of pressure on Shomek last time as Dakers tipped the ball as it was about to go downfield. Now Shomek standing at his own 25, handles the snap easily, no pressure. And he gets a down end over end kick, and taking it as Penning, he fumbles it, but just falls on the ball right away at the Gales' 45-yard line. That 26-yard kick with a 0 return by Fenning. As that rousing roar you heard a little while ago was the sound of coffee being delivered here to the press box. And this is quite cold here at Richardson Stadium.
Fans braving all the elements. Very good crowd on hand. Not as big as homecoming, but pretty well full. I'd say about 8,000 or so fans here. And good to see. Of course, they were expecting a big crowd against U of T.
Well, the Gales on offense here with 1 minute and 58 seconds to play in the second quarter. 1st and 10 from the 45. The fake pitch there. Fumble the ball to the Gales. And it looks like the Blues have recovered as Gales tried some razzle-dazzle there. And fumbling the ball. And I can't see who recovered it for the Toronto Blues. Probably one of the down linemen, Eric Upshaw.
Well, the Blues with the ball in the Gales' end of the field for the first time here in the second quarter, and 1:54 showing on the clock. Plenty of time for them to put together an offense on this. The Gales have had the momentum with them, even when their defensive squad has been out there in the field, so maybe they can keep them out of there.
Well, the Gales could come right back as they did against McGill and just come back with a turnover. Just have to wait and see, but this is crucial as there's only 1:54 left to play, and Varsity Blues 45-yard line of the Gales.
Well, Finlayson back to pass once again. He's looking on the sideline, and it bounces in front of the intended receiver there, number 25, Dave Pearson, as I'm sure both teams would be very keen to want to take a lead into the halftime, and into the dressing room at halftime, as the Gales ahead by 4 at the moment, 11-7. And I'm sure the Blues would like to try and put some points on the board to either narrow that or go ahead. Should mention before game time this morning, the field was entirely covered with snow, but work crews worked hard to clean most of the field off, and now it really hasn't been much of a factor with the snow being on the field in the game so far. And now Finlayson back to pass once again, and he's got time out of bounds. There is Pearson, but he will be short of the first down. He only picked up about 4 on the play, making a good hit on him. On the far side of the field was Mark Burley.
Well, Deacon really gave it to him on the sidelines there, too, as he made the receiver know that he wasn't going to pick up any extra yards on that catch.
Made Miller cough up the ball as well, but it rolled out of bounds. Finlayson having a hot hand so far, 10 for 16 in the passing department. Of course, he's been very impressive in the playoffs. He was 21 for 29 last week against McMaster.
Well, I was wondering whether Shomek would be lining up to attempt a field goal here, but a stiff wind blowing from the north end of Richardson Stadium, and he'll be punting it away to the Gales as he's standing at the center field stripe, and he gets a good one away, but it's going down, angling out of bounds. Corrigan takes it on the sideline on the far side of the field and is wrapped up right away and run out of bounds there by the Toronto Blues, making the tackle on him.
Well, the fans didn't like that too much as Corrigan was quite well out of bounds, and the Blues still tackled him. Very intense rivalry here between these two teams, and I'm sure the players on each side want badly to get to the College Bowl and get national attention. Of course, the Vanier Cup as it's called, but all the fans here always call it the College Bowl because of course it sounds a lot better with touchdown field goal.
That's from Mark Bischoff, our CFRC cheerleader. And now the 1.5 minutes, Bobby Wright hands it off to Sterling. He goes straight ahead, picks up a gain of a couple, but no more, as the Gales deep in their own zone here after that punt by Chomick, and a very small return.
That's without doubt the worst 1-minute color commentary of the season there, Bischoff. Of course the teams want to go to the College Bowl. They've been practicing all fall for
That's what
that eventuality.
And
Okay.
Injured player on the field, and this gives Bobby Wright a chance to run to the Gales bench to talk about some play selection with John Lynch, the Gales coordinator, and now Jamie McKinnon is ready to come onto the field. As the injured player is Ted Bergeron, as he is the Gales' only fullback, as of course I'm sure all the Gales listeners know that Larry Moore is the usual fullback for the Gales, but that was only for the first 2 games of the season. And he has complications with his knee injury. He is not in the lineup and probably won't be back for the rest of the season. Of course, it would be just a maximum of 2 games, this one included. And they're looking at the ankle injury area of Bergeron, and he's now limping off the field, but he is walking under his own steam. Just like to also mention that we have a radio listener, stay tuned at halftime. We have an interview coming up with Cam Innes, coach of the Calgary Dinosaurs, and he was at the game last night and saw his team beat the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds by a score of 21-12, and they are the Western representatives in the Vanier Cup final. And he's here watching this game to see who his team will be up against. All right, 2nd and 8 for the Gales, 1:16 to play. And Wright hands it off to Scott Sterling. He goes straight ahead, but is wrapped up. And he is short of the first down. And the Gales punting unit will be forced to come onto the field, as they had to get out past the 20-yard line to the 22, but they're only at about the 21-yard line. So Gales will be forced to kick it away with 1:10, and the Blues could get the ball back in fairly decent field position.
I'm sure the Gales wanted badly to get a first down just so they could put the Varsity Blues out of scoring range. But now the Blues have the clock on their side. They'll have about a minute to work with the ball and maybe put some points on the board before this first half ends.
Well, I'm sure that's what they would like to do, as I believe the Gales are asking to have a clean ball brought in, but rather just asking for the placement on the field to be changed, as they're probably in a muddy spot. Now Barrable standing at his own 5-yard line, and he has the wind at his back. And a long snap by the Gales, and Barrable, he gets it up, but coming down to the center field stripe, taking it there is Lippert right at the center field stripe, and he gets around the corner, getting away from Jackson, but now wrapping him up out of bounds is Gary Kynock, and about a 3-yard run back there. They get 4-yard run back on that 42-yard kick by Barrable.
Oh, great pursuit there by Gary Kynock to run Roger Lippert out of bounds. And so the Varsity Blues will start from the Gales' 54-yard line, and let's see if they can put a march together here with just 41 seconds left to play in this first half. Blues are trailing by a score of 11-7.
Well, the Blues would need, probably with this wind, probably about 15 or 20 yards to have a field goal attempt come from Chomick. And now John Finlayson, the quarterback of the Toronto Blues, talking with the officials about something on the field. And, of course, the Blues could use a timeout here to preserve some time on the clock in the second quarter, as the Gales lead it here 11-7 with 41 seconds to play in the second quarter. And I'm sure very exciting second half of play coming up, so don't move your radio dial from 1490. And now the Blues in the huddle, the Gales defensive unit awaiting this attempt by the Blues. Finlayson with the backs in the eye of McVie and Miller. Long count by the Blues, dropping back to pass, swinging it out to Philippik. He's got it and cuts back against Burley, going to the outside, and chasing him is Shad out of bounds. And he is covered by a shower of snowballs on the far side of the field, but a big first down there by Andy Philippik.
Well, 33 seconds showing on the clock now. Still time for Toronto to do something with the ball before halftime, as they have 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line.
Of course, if they do get a touchdown, they'll go ahead, as they're only trailing by 4 right now, 11-7.
33 seconds on the clock. The ball on the right hash mark. Finlayson with the backs rolling out, and he hands it off to Miller up the middle, and he's got some room, but he's hit hard there. Coming up to make a hit on him, I believe it was Ian Deacon who put a hit on him, but he picked up about 6, so that's his longest run of the day. As now Miller, he's picked up 11 yards on 6 carries, so that was his longest run of the day.
Well, no time went off the clock on that play at all. It's still at 33 seconds, as the Gale spotter's not watching that. Now the time starts to tick away, but that play went completely without time.
Of course, that's not the official time. Flags fly on the field. Finlayson back to pass. He's under pressure, and he's still on his feet, and jumping on top of him now are a host of Gales, as flags all over the field, and we'll have to wait and see, as 18 seconds show on the clock now, but that is not the official time, as on that last play to Miller, the clock did not run. Procedure is the penalty against the Blues.
Well, that's an awful lot of orange out there, as 3 flags are on the ground. Just have to wait, see how they sort this out.
Well, probably all the officials saw the one call, one infraction, as the back judges and the line umpire saw it, and the early indication is procedure against the Blues. As I say, the Gales, I'm sure, want to know how much official time is on the clock.
Well, lots of conversation going on at the timekeeper's booth, I can tell down there, as they are having a dialogue about what it is the clock should say.
The Gales declined the penalty in any event, and that means the Blues now will be third down, and with that sack on Finlayson will be third down and about 15 yards. So the Gales sending back McKinnon and Fenning and Corrigan to try and run this punt back, as it will be punt, I'm sure, coming from Finlayson, as he will be standing at the center field, or rather Shomek will be standing at the center field stripe. The clock is counting down at the moment, but that's irrelevant to what's going on here on the field. Shomek, and the short snap, it goes to number 21 in the play. Lippert, he's going around the right-hand side, but he's not pick up the first down, and the Gales hold on to the ball, and it's fumbled on the play, but hard to say who picked up the ball. A flag down in the well, and a fumble going from Lippert ahead. That would be a forward lateral, so the Gales anyway pick up the ball as the Blues try some razzle-dazzle there on a short snap on the punt. Well, that worked for Ottawa earlier in the year, but the Gales defensive unit comes up big on it there, as they may have been aware of that.
That's the third time this game that the Varsity Blues have gambled on a third down. They've been successful twice on short yardage situations, but the Gales weren't fooled that time.
Well, a good play under the circumstances. The Gales can only put together one play to bring it 70 yards now for a touchdown, so they could gamble there and get away with it. The benefits would have been a lot larger than what's going to happen here coming the other way.
Well, Bobby Wright just goes down on one knee and runs out the clock, so that's the end here of the first quarter, or the first half of play, and the Queens Golden Gales go into the dressing room to a standing ovation from the alumni with a score of 11-7, so stay tuned for the... Well, this is serious football here at George Richardson Stadium. I'm Dan Maloney, along with Jim Everson, Richard Brower, Mark Bischoff, and Rylan Coyne to bring you this second half of play here at George Richardson Stadium.
Well, Dan, we're just about to get underway here as both teams are coming out onto the field. The Gales will be kicking off from their own 45-yard line. Bill Baravel starting up the game, or the second half, excuse me. And here for the third quarter play-by-play is Sports Director Emeritus Jim Everson.
Well, thank you, Richard. The Gales out in front by a score of 11-7 with the second half just about to get underway. And as we mentioned at halftime, the Gales doing everything well except scoring once they've got into Toronto territory. And they have had that trouble. If they hope to stay ahead in this one, I think they're going to have to work better once they're deep in the Blues zone. The Blues, as we mentioned at halftime, came back on the McMaster Marauders last week, and they did that on one very big play from Finlayson to Pearson. And the Gales will have to look out for that sort of thing happening. Here we go with the Toronto Blues picking it up at the 25-yard line. And that was number 71, Steve Howlett, who had the trouble just picking it up and then got a 0 punt return after the kickoff went 40 yards on the foot of Bill Barable.
Well, Mike Schott there showing his speed. He is the fastest lineman on the Gales, and he just motored downfield to make that tackle after the Blue juggled the ball.
Okay, the Blues starting things off in the second half here with the wind at the back. And it's Finlayson in there at quarterback. And the first give here is to McVeigh up the middle. And McVeigh's got about 5 yards on the play.
Well, the Gales open up, or excuse me, the U of T Blues start off with a handoff to McVeigh. Interesting to see that yet again the U of T Blues not going to Trevor Miller as much as they had during the regular season, as they've had to avert their offense to other plays as defenses are picking up on Trevor Miller.
Okay, McVeigh, who was hurt in the first half, is back in the game at the fullback position now. This time Finlayson to McVeigh again, and this time he's not going to get 5 as the Gales stop him. And they pick up the football. The Gales have the ball. Boy, that one happened a little late, it looked like, but the Gales pick it up, and they've got great field position to start off the second half.
Well, speak of the devil, we were just mentioning how the defensive line of the Gales has been so prominent in forcing turnovers, and there's the man of the hour, Dave Dakers, as he recovers that fumble for the Gales and gives the offense a chance to put some points on the board from the Blues 35-yard line, and here they go.
Well, Dakers is so aggressive and tough in there at the nose guard position. Comes up with the fumble for the Gales. Right in the pocket under pressure, gets rid of it, and it's incomplete. And he felt a big tackle after that one. A late flag on the play.
And right is shaken up somewhat. He's slow to get up on his feet, and you can just see how muddy the field is. You can't even see his number on his back, as he really paid the price after letting go of that one. And luckily, I guess he was hit just as he threw it, because it was quite a lame duck up in the air, and it was just up for grabs, Jim.
I'll tell you, he got hit. I didn't see what number the player was, but he came in from right's blind side and really gave him a hit. The penalty will be going against the Golden Gales for holding. And so it's going to be first down now and 20 yards. The Gales lose on the holding call, and so they'll have to get the ball to the 25 to pick up a first down, scrimmaging from the 45. First and 20. Early in the second half, the Gales up by a score of 11-7. Right back, big pressure again, gets it out to Pendergast, and Pendergast down to the 30-yard line. Nice catch there with the pressure by Roger Lippert.
Nice catch, to say the least, Jim, as Lippert was all over Pendergast's back, but Pendergast still out-fought him for the ball and managed to hang on, as Lippert, an OUAA All-Star at the safety position, came down hard on him. So, first down for the Gales. Second down, excuse me. That only went for went for more than 4 yards, but they had a loss before that.
Well, they pick up 15, and now it's 2nd and 5, right back from the 30-yard line, back in the pocket, throwing it out here, and incomplete. The Gales bit the SAR, just about had it, but couldn't pull it down. Make it Pendergast on the far side.
Well, Jim Pendergast, the leading Gales receiver today, as he's had a lot of action, but 6 receptions on the day, but that one just a little low for him to pick up, I think, as he had to reach down and couldn't quite pick it up out of the air.
It was a little low, Richard, and of course the field being the way it is, I'm sure the balls are somewhat heavy and wet, and that's probably part of the reason he couldn't quite scoop that ball up.
Okay, Barabo will be trying the field goal from about the 37-yard line here, and he's got the wind against him. He's made and missed a 26-yarder earlier on today. The 26er that missed went for a single, and of course he got 3 points for a field goal in the second with the wind at his back from the 26. This one from the 36 and into the wind. See if Barabo can pull this off. Corrigan will be holding for him. Corrigan gets it down, and the kick is good. Oh, a very nice kick by Barabo, and it just made it over the pipe.
Wow.
And so Barabo with a 37-yarder.
Super kick by Barabo, going against that wind with the ground very slippery, very hard to get footing, but he managed to put it through as he missed earlier on a much shorter kick, and that makes it Queens Golden Gales 14, Varsity Blues 7, early in the third quarter here. 12:24 left to play in the third.
Okay, the Gales up by a full touchdown now. And the Blues will be taking over the ball for the first time here, or the second time, make it in the half. And they'll have it first and 10 from their own 35. And the stands on the other side moving with oil size. Finlayson back to pass. Throws it out here for Philippic, and he gets it and runs out of bounds. Pick up a 5 for the Blues.
Well, Philippic running a good pattern on Mark Burley there as he did a little bit of a turn and got Mark Burley turned the wrong way, and he got open on the flats to pick up a good gain there, or no, not too good a gain, but a good reception. So it's 2nd and 6 for the Blues from their own 39-yard line.
Okay, Finlayson was 2nd and 6. This give is to McVeigh, and McVeigh gets wrapped up by Marsland as soon as he gets it and gets maybe a yard on the play.
Takers in on that one too, as he just stood up McVeigh right away, and Marsland came in and to finish him off. Some good hitting by the defensive line and linebackers of the Gales. So not much running room there, and now it'll be 3rd and 5.
Chomek will be kicking away from his own 25. 11:38 showing here in the third quarter. Gales up 14-7. The kickoff coming down here to McKinnon. Takes it at its own 30. Jamie McKinnon turns it upfield for the Gales. And he's still just running along the 30-yard line and goes out of bounds there with some tackles. A 35-yard punt by Chomek. And McKinnon could not bring it back as he faced stiff opposition from the Toronto Blues. An injured Golden Gale behind the play.
And he looks in pretty bad shape. Can't quite see his number from here. it's shot, and it looks like his knee, and that is a big blow for the Gales. If I believe it's shot, and
well, I'll have to wait and see who the player is that's injured on the field. I have the training staff out there to attend to him. The score 14-7 for the Gales here in the third quarter, as the referee now calls on some players to help the injured Gale off the field. Gales up 14-7 at the 11:25 mark of the third quarter. Those points coming on a touchdown by Pendergast, 2 field goals by Barable, and a single also by Bill Barable. The only scoring here in the third quarter coming from Bill Barable on a 36-yard field goal. Still waiting to see who the injured player for the Gales is, as you can see him, those of you watching on the video.
I'm pretty sure it's Mike Schad, Jim. And it looks pretty serious, as he's still down and a group of Gales are around him ready to help him up. He's getting up slowly now. Fans giving him a ovation.
Well, it is Mike Shad's leg, and Mike Shad not putting any pressure on it at all, being brought off the field, being helped by several Gales there, and that's, of course, key Shad, a very key player for the Golden Gales. And we hope that's not as bad as it looks.
And that's the knee Mike Shad injured earlier this season, and looks like he's through for today and maybe for the season should the Gales go on.
Gales are 1st and 10 at their own 30. Back to the game now, and they give to Bergeron. Bergeron tough going again and gets it back just to the line of scrimmage. And so it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Gales.
So the Gales are at their own 32-yard line. They are leading by 7, 14-7.
Okay, right in there in a 2nd and 8 situation. Goes back to pass. Looking long here, and it's complete. Nice catch for the Gales up to the 50-yard line.
Great catch by Scott Sterling. There's a flag on the play, but it was way down in the defensive backfield of the Blues, so we'll just have to wait and see what the call is. It's holding against Toronto, and I'm sure that would be declined.
Well, Sterling coming out of the halfback position and getting upfield and making that grab. And 1st and 10 for the Gales.
Sorry, Jim, that's Sterling's first reception of the day. Because he's been quite prominent receiving passes in the last couple of playoff games for the Gales as well. He's rushed for 198 yards in the 2 playoff games.
All right, the Gales on the roll, picking up the first, and a 20-yard pickup there for Sterling. On the throw, Bissessar now in motion to the left. And right, hands off, gives it to Sterling up the middle. Sterling gets about 3 yards there. And a flag in the Queen's backfield.
Seeing lots of flags in this game so far, and it's not what you'd expect from a game of this magnitude, a national semifinal. As usually these teams are well disciplined, as Hargraves was saying. U of T Blues are a very well disciplined team. 10-16 left to play, 14-7, the Gales lead it.
Okay, so it's 2nd down again and 8 yards to go. The Gales will be scrimmaging from their 53-yard line. Big play, the Gales have to make these 2nd downs and long yardage. Right back to pass, looking for O'Doherty. The throw is behind him, incomplete. And Queens will be called upon to punt the ball away here to the Toronto Blues.
Well, somewhat of a mix-up on that play, I imagine, as Bob Wright threw that ball way behind Ross O'Doherty. I'm not sure why he did that, but pass is incomplete, and so now 3rd and 8, the Gales punting team comes on the field, and Barable will be kicking from about his 40-yard line, between the 40 and 35-yard line.
All right, 9 minutes and 47 seconds showing on the clock. The Gales up 14-7, but punting the ball away after their drive stalled at the midfield point Fireball gets a good punt away, driving Lippert back to his own 20-yard line. Roger Lippert takes it there, and he's in pursuit, running the wrong way initially here, and the Gales catch him at about the 22-yard line.
Wow.
A negative 2-yard return on a 32-yard punt by Bill Barable. So Toronto is caught deep in their own zone, and if the Gales defense can come up with some solid defense, the Toronto Blues will be giving the Gales the ball back in fairly good field position.
Well, Tom Langford will step into the middle linebacking spot now. And it'll be interesting to see if they try to exploit that position, although Langford filled in nicely while Shad was hurt during the season, so not much of a weakness there.
Okay, on 1st and 10, the give is to Ed Bergman. And Bergman pick up of 2 yards.
Joe Valenti making the tackle on that play. He wasn't fooled at all by that counter. They've used the counter quite a bit, the Blues have, and so far it hasn't really worked for them. Gales have shut down the running game quite nicely.
So make it 2nd down now. And 9 yards to go, pickup of just 1 on the play. This time Finlayson will go back to pass, looking for Pearson, and it's incomplete. Pearson had the catch and just couldn't hold on to it. Burley was covering him fairly well, brought him out of bounds, but really Pearson should have had the catch at the 35, and Toronto will have to give up the ball. The Gales should now come up with it inside to Toronto territory, depending on Shomek's kick here, and the Gales should have great field position. They have 8 minutes and 35 seconds here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, Gales certainly looking in good position now, Jim, but just a interesting note that Dave Pearson has yet to catch a pass today, and he was the U of T All-Star last week as he got 2 catches in the 4th quarter for touchdowns.
Okay, the punt is coming down right at the center field stripe here to Corrigan for Queens, and Corrigan a pickup of 5 yards and gets it to the Toronto 50-yard line. Shomek got away a 31-yard punt on that play.
Very high that punt was, as we're seeing an interesting helmet now here. The engineer walks by, of course, in, you guessed it, purple. And so the Gales enjoying excellent field position once again, as they did for most of the 2nd quarter, as they're on the Blues 50-yard line, and Bob Wright's going to try to march it down from here.
Okay, the Gales, the first give up the middle to the fullback, and it goes to the 47-yard line, a pickup of 2 or 3 yards. I guess that was Bergeron carrying for the Gales.
Upshot in on that tackle, the All-Star. He's playing potentially his last game here. He is a 5th-year man with the Varsity Blues. Very big as well. He goes in at about 260 pounds.
Second down and 7. Right back to pass, and in will tip around in time to make the reception.
Wow, that side was wide open as both Bissessar and Sterling had nobody near them, and unfortunately Sterling just didn't look back for that pass, and the Wright had to unload it because he was getting all kinds of pressure.
I wonder in that play if maybe Scott Sterling turned the wrong way as he turned upfield, and then Bobby Wright threw it behind him.
Well, the Gales, in any case, give up some good field position here and punt the ball away. Lippert will be taking it at his 15-yard line. The Gales can still hold Toronto there, but the Gales offense, after getting the ball in fairly good position here, come up empty. And Wright, or Barabo, kicking it now from his center field stripe. Gets it down here. Lippert takes it at the 20, and nothing going for Lippert. The Gales are down there very quickly to nullify any run back on his part. Barabo with a 27-yard punt.
Well, the Gales specialty team has just been great, as they've just shut down Roger Lippert all the way, as Lippert did lead the country in punt returns with 49 for 529 yards, good enough for an 11-yard average, but he certainly hasn't done much so far in this game as far as punt returns are concerned, Jim.
Well, the Gales only used up a minute at a time on the clock, so it's 6:55 remaining now with Toronto taking it over. They're behind 7-14. And Finlayson trying to do something about that, throws it to Pearson. This time Pearson makes the catch, pushed out of bounds by Rick Prinzen, but the pickup will give them very close to the first down.
Oh, a very crafty move there by Pearson, as he just pushed off Burley, and Burley just lost his balance, and that's how Pearson managed to shake him loose.
Well, where they spot the ball here will make the difference on whether it's a first down or not, and they're going to call in for a measurement. It's that close. Pearson, they tried a similar play just on the possession before that, and Pearson failed to make the catch, and that's why the Blues had to punt it away. That time he makes the catch, and it's his first catch of the day.
So we'll just have to wait and see here what the officials signal. Of course, the Blues have tried 3 third down gambles, 2 on short yardage situation, and they got those, and the other one, it was more or less just they had nothing to lose but try it.
Well, this, of course, will be a second down, and it'll be very close. The Blues had all the momentum, it seemed, in the first quarter, getting the touchdown and almost getting a second before they fumbled the ball, and then the Gales, or before John Corrigan, rather, came up with the interception, and then the Gales seemed to have the momentum with them all the way through the second quarter, and in the third quarter, it's been a very even game so far, having had almost 10 minutes go on the clock. This frame.
Sorry, Jim, the Gales get the wind in the final quarter, and that could be to their favor if they can just hold the Varsity Blues here as they did McGill last week. McGill decided to take the wind in the third quarter, trailing 12-2, and they didn't get very many points on the board.
Okay, second down and inches for the Blues here as they field the ball at their own 31-yard line. Long count, Finlayson just gives it off there to Miller, it looks like. And they will have the first down on the play. Ball carrier was Sean Allen on that one.
Allen, of course, he's their short yardage man. And used also as a blocking back, as he's probably their best blocker in the backfield.
Okay, it's Alan McVeigh in the backfield at the moment. First and 10, the ball at the 33-yard line. Finlayson will go back to pass. A lot of pressure, and Marsland's got him, and he goes down in the sack. Marsland and Bodner both in there for the Gales. And Finlayson is slow to get up after that one.
Well, giving credit to the Gales defense. They've been in that backfield a couple of times today, and of course there Phil Marsland throwing Finlayson for a big loss. So after that first down, the U of T Blues now find themselves in worse position than they were previously. It's going to be second and about 21, 22 yards.
5:28 showing on the clock, 14-7 for the Golden Gales. The University of Toronto Varsity Blues with the ball, second and more than 20 to go from their own 22-yard line. Finlayson will just backpedal here to try to get the throw away. Good pressure again, and he gets it away, but Bodner was very hard on him there and just took him down right after he threw the pass, and the pass went for naught, incomplete.
Wow, great pressure. If it wasn't for Finlayson just dumping that ball off, that would have been the 5th sack for the Gales. As it is now, they have 4 for 36 yards. And Bodner, I think, has been the standout on that defensive line. They've all been in back there, but Bodner's really put the pressure on.
Well, you know, he has been today, and he's certainly almost single-handedly responsible here for making Toronto give up the ball here. Him and Marsland were in on that first one, and he did this second one solo. Poor punt here by Shomak, and Corrigan takes the ball at the 45, gets it down to the 35-yard line, and the Gales now have excellent field position.
Well, the Gales are going to have to put some points on the ball here, on the board here, as the defense has given them all kinds of field position throughout the last couple of quarters. And so far, they've only put 14 points up.
Shomak only managed a 25-yarder on that punt, and Corrigan brought it back about half of that.
Shomak, I think, is perhaps feeling the effects of that stretched ligament in the arch of his foot.
Still only 7 points separating these two clubs, right? On the throw here to Bissessar, get a good catch for 5, and Bissessar still on his feet, gets about 8 yards on the play.
Scott Bissessar, he dropped one earlier on a quick hitch pass, but that time he just squeezed the ball, tried to almost broke loose for more yardage, but did manage to pick up 8.
The Gales still need 3 on this one, as it's second and not far to go from about the 27-yard line, make it the 28-yard line. So the Gales could pick up a first down here and get in good field position. The give to right to O'Doherty. O'Doherty's got the first down to the 20, and with a little room there, gets it down to the 17-yard line. Nice running by Ross O'Doherty.
Well, Ross O'Doherty, certainly, in my mind, the most exciting runner the Gales have on their offense right now. He's so shifty, and continually, game after game this year, we've seen him break through for big plays, and he does it yet again as that picks up a good first down for the Gales and brings the ball down to the UT 18-yard line.
You know, Richard, he'd be my vote for the MVP, as constantly when the Gales have needed a big play, it's been Ross O'Doherty that's come up with it.
That's the way to describe him, though, as an exciting football player. Anything can happen when he gets the ball. First from the 17, first and 10. They give to Sterling this time. Sterling runs into one of his own blockers there and gets just to the line of scrimmage.
Tough running up the middle against the Blues, as they've stopped that middle ground game, with the exception of when it comes from the wingback, O'Doherty, and he's so quick to the hole. 14-7 is the score. Gales lead it, and they're on the march once again as they're down to about the 22-yard line of the Varsity Blues.
Well, I make it the 18. The Gales lost a yard on that play in any case, and they'll be 2nd and 11 now from the 18. Right, back to pass, feels some pressure, and now will try to run it out there himself, but he goes down in the sack under some pressure from the defensive line of the Toronto Blues. Bob Harris, number 72, was the man that took him down from his linebacker spot.
Well, that's tough, because that's forced them out of field goal range, or it's going to make a hard field goal anyway. Should Barable try it. Of course, he was good on a long one before going against the wind.
Well, he was good from 36, but well, he is going to put down the tee, it looks like, and attempt a field goal here from the 38-yard line. Make it the 39. Barable, who was successful from the hash marks on the left-hand side of the field at the 36-yard marker, will now be trying from the hash marks on the right-hand side of the field from the 39-yard marker. So, see how he can do from 39 yards, and Corrigan will be holding for him. The snap is good, and Barable, and doesn't get a good kick away. It rolls down to the goal line. Lippert will pick it up there and will concede the single point to the Golden Gales.
And it appears that Barable just slipped on that, Jim, as he didn't get a good foot on it at all, as it just squibbed down all the way down, and Lippert was just hoping that it would roll over the goal line so they could opt for the good field position.
Well, it seems to me that point could be important, as it may come down to the wire here in the fourth quarter.
It could, Jim. That puts them 8 points away, and the Blues would have to need a 2-point convert to tie the game.
In any case, they're first and 10, 2 minutes and 23 seconds remaining on the board here in the third quarter. Finlayson from his own 35, first and 10, under some trouble, throws it out here, and it's complete to Philippik. And Philippik gets it to about the 49-yard line and picks up the first down for the Blues. Nice pass by Finlayson under pressure to get it up there to Philippik.
Very good pressure, as we saw Bodner, three linemen were on Bodner for the Blues to give Finlayson that pressure, protection. And good catch by Philippik, as Deacon came away from his other side and tried to go for the interception, but he misjudged that ball.
Okay, first and 10 from the 50 for the Blues. Long count here now. Finlayson takes it. Nobody back there where he expected him to be. Tries to throw a pass away, but that time Joe Valente was in there to get him. And he doesn't get a good pass away, but a broken play, definitely. Finlayson turned around looking for backs, and nobody was in his backfield.
I don't know about that one, too. I don't know whose intended receiver was on that, besides three Gales that were really close to the pass, very close to grounding the ball on that one.
Well, after he turned around and saw there were no backs there, and he saw the pursuit coming from Valente, I think the sidelines quickly became his intended receiver, and he just got rid of it. Second and 10 in any case, and the ball at the 50-yard line. Blues will have to come up with the 10 yards here if they want to sustain this drive. Finlayson back to pass, and still a pressure again, and Bodner's got a missed time and another sack for the Gales defense.
Well, what an unreal game Steve Bodner is having, as he's been in on a number of sacks, about 4 in my mind today, and of course that just sets up another U of T punt. As the U of T was 2nd and 10, they're not getting anywhere, and now 3rd down, and they're forced to punt.
That's 5 sacks for 44 yards, and like you say, Bodner's been on, I think, every one except one.
Well, this third quarter's been a defensive battle, you gotta say that. Shomek getting the punt away now. It'll come down to McKinnon at his own 25-yard line. And McKinnon runs it up to the 45. He's still got some room. And he drops the ball, but it rolls out of bounds. And the Gales will retain possession. That time a 40-yard punt and a 22-yard run back by McKinnon.
That's been the best return of the ball game on either side, as McKinnon picking up some good blocks, running through the seam. And he fumbled that ball, but luckily it just rolled out of bounds. A sigh of relief up here besides the statsman of Queens.
Well, he took a number of hits there also running that one up, and still managed to stay on his feet and get some good yards out of it. 22 on that run back. Okay, right back in the pocket again to throw on this 1st and 10, and that one goes incomplete. The intended receiver was Bissessar, but just not enough on the ball that time.
Boy, Bobby Wright had to get rid of that one quick, as 2 defensive linemen, one on the blind side, was coming at him, and they unloaded on him but let up as the ball was released.
Well, Wright, of course, getting pressured there indeed. This second half, he's had a hard time with the passing game, though, as he's not been able to find the receivers on a number of times, and it's been quite wide of the mark.
All right, 2nd and 10 now, and again right back to pass. This time looking out here for Pendergast, and that one for Bissessar make it, and that one goes incomplete. But it may go for a defensive interference, and indeed it will. The Gales will pick up the 1st down at the Toronto 45.
Well, number 29 for UT, Maurice Martin, picking up a passing interference penalty as he hit Bissessar too early there as he was on top of him, and Bissessar had no chance to pick up that pass.
Well, Maurice Martin gave Bissessar trouble before in the end zone in the 2nd quarter, and this time the referees picked up on that, and they didn't let him get away with it this time.
Okay, just 27 seconds left in the 3rd quarter here. The Gales up 15-7. They have the ball 1st and 10 from the Toronto 45. Right back to pass, gets it out to Larson, and incomplete. Larson almost had it, but it just trickled out of his hands there. And so it'll be the 2nd down and 10 from the 45. Flag on the play in the Gales offensive backfield there. Oh, Larson just about had that one, and it would have been a 1st down for the Gales.
It would have, and that would have put them almost in field goal range, very close, and especially because they're going to go with the wind here. Just 18 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, and then for the 4th and final quarter, barring overtime that is, they would have the wind.
Well, you'll have a 30-second pause to leave your radio here as we go for the break, and this game is going to be decided in the 4th quarter. So don't go away. Just 8 points separating the two teams, 15-7 for the Gales. 12 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter, and the Gales will have 1st and 10 over again here. Broken play. Wright just holds onto the ball and mix up maybe a yard on the play. That time Wright was looking for somebody to hand off, and his backs were both looking for the pitch out.
And that's twice now that the Gales, that's happened to the Gales, as they had a broken play in the 1st half too. And you can't really afford something like that in a national final.
Okay, we have a report on the injury to Shad. They have put a cast back on that leg that he injured earlier on this season. Of course, Shad missed several games with a bad leg, and now he's re-injured and a cast has been put on it, so he'll be out, I would think, for the season. Okay, Wright going back to pass on the last play of the 3rd quarter, looking deep for Bissessar, incomplete. Bissessar tried to make the catch on the dive as it was thrown too short for him, but he couldn't pull it in, and that will end the 3rd quarter. The Gales are on top by a score of 15-7, and this one's going to come down to the wires.
You're tuned to CableNet 13, alternative viewing for the Kingston community.
$8,300 here at George Richardson Stadium, so a big crowd on hand.
Well, I was only off by 300, Dan.
And now to start this 4th quarter, Bill Barable will be punting the ball away as the Gales' offensive drive stalled there. As they're now 3rd and 19, Barable standing at his own 42-yard line. Barable gets the snap, and he puts it away, and a good kick. It's going down. Ripper chasing it back into his own end zone, and it's in the end zone. And Lippert lets it go there, and he concedes a single point in Bill Barable on a 64-yard punt to put the Gales ahead by a score of 16-7.
Wow, what a boomer that was by Bill Barable. As he's just been unreal in the playoffs. He's boosted his average of punting about 4 or 5 yards as he's just boomed them. And so now that'll put the Varsity Blues 9 points away from the Golden Gales, and they'll be scrimmaging the ball from their own 35 against the wind. Let's see what Finlayson can do here.
Well, Finlayson has been having trouble all day, getting sacked 5 times. Sends Ouellette in motion. Long count, the back's going out. He pitches it to Miller. Miller around the right-hand side of the line, but he gets nowhere. Gain of 2 as he's wrapped up by length for Deacon and Dakers as the Gales defensive unit is pumped up, and they want this victory.
Well, it's really tough to run on the outside against the Gales as other teams such as Skinner. Skinner, of course, the leading rusher in the country, but he just didn't get any yards against the Gales. They just shut down both of those corners, and not too many guys can run on the outside against the Gales, especially with the slippery field conditions.
Well, Miller picked up 4 yards on his forward momentum, so make it 2nd down and 6 for the Toronto Blues. Ouellette in motion to the left-hand side once again. Back to pass is Finlayson looking downfield for Pearson. He's got it at the sideline. No, he's out of bounds. As he made the reception out of bounds, he had Burley beaten on the play, made the reception in 1st down territory, but it's incomplete.
Well, they seem to be working Burley's side quite a lot, either putting Philippuk out there or Dave Pearson, who was OUAA Player of the Week last week. And they haven't gone too much to Norm Fenning's side, and that's interesting, but Burley's done quite a job on those wide receivers.
Well, you're right, Mark. I noticed that, too, that the UT Blues seem to be going to that side. Perhaps that's the one weakness Doug Mitchell figured the Gales defense had.
13-14 remaining here. Shomek kicking from his own 25, gets a good kick away this time into the wind. Coming down, taking it is Jamie McKinnon at his own 40-yard line, getting around over the 45 to the 50. McKinnon with some speed, runs by, coming in on Shomek at the 45 and into the 40-yard line of the Toronto Blues is Jamie McKinnon on that super run back to 35 yards, a 41-yard punt and a 32-yard return for the Gales. And McKinnon with good speed over there, and he just ran over top one of the Toronto Blues on that play.
If the Blues would have known about that, I think they just would have went for it on 3rd down as they lost 9 yards on that exchange. 41-yard return by McKinnon, 32-yard punt by Shomek, and reminiscent of the franchise running back that one, as McKinnon done a super job so far.
Well, the Gales are sure pumped up on the bench, and the fans are beside them on the other side of the field. Bobby Wright passing now to Bissessar. He's got it at the 25. A good move to get away from one tackler, as he eluded Roger Lippert there, but moved up over to the 24-yard line for a pickup of about 6 yards.
Well, they tried that pass earlier in the game, and it was just a little too high, and Bissessar couldn't hang on that time. There was only one man on him, but this time I think the defense was more prepared, and Bissessar did manage to elude one tackler, but then 2 more came, but not after he picked up 7 yards.
2nd and 4, the handoff to O'Doherty. He goes straight ahead, is tripped up, but falls ahead for the 1st down. Tackled down on the play by number 27, Steve Turbeck. 16-7 is the score here at Richardson Stadium. The Gales are in front with 12 minutes and 14 seconds to play, and the Gales have a 1st down at the Toronto 19-yard line.
Well, OD, picking up a 1st down there, that puts the Gales in really good position just inside the 20-yard line, and they could possibly have 2 1st downs here and get a real crack at a touchdown.
Well, Bobby Wright hands off to O'Doherty again. He is straight-armed, but is held up there, and tackling him down, Eric Upshaw, 54, the big defensive tackle for the Toronto Blues. O'Doherty picking up a couple there as he tried to break through, but was caught back and give him a gain of 1. And Bobby Wright taking that opportunity to talk to John Lynch quickly on the sideline.
O'Doherty doing a good job hanging on to that barrel, as I thought he was going to lose one of his arms, as one of the tacklers just grabbed OD's arm. But he did manage to even pick up 1 yard, so 2nd and long here.
Bissessar wide to the right for Bobby Wright. He's back to pass, swings it out behind Sterling, but he couldn't hold on to it, as coming up to cover him was the middle safety, John Sapungis. And Sterling couldn't make the reception, and now Barable will attempt a field goal here with 11 minutes and 22 seconds to go. So Barable has been providing much of the Gales' offense here, as he has a couple of field goals and a couple of singles.
It's been unfortunate. Gales has moved the ball quite well between the 20-yard lines, but once they get down to the 20, they seem to stall, and they rely on Barrowville to supply the kicking, as Gales do lead it 16-7. This would make it 19, should it be good, coming from the left hash mark.
Well, 26-yard line, and he puts it up, and it's wide, and it goes through the end zone, so another single by Bill Barrowville. And with 10 minutes and 56 seconds to play here, that's his second 26-yard field goal that he has missed here today.
Well, right you are, Dan. Bill Barrowville has had 3 attempts from the 26-yard line today, a rather unusual stat, but he's only picked up 1 field goal on it. I don't know what the problem is, why he can't pick it up. He certainly can kick it that distance with ease.
Lots of distance there, Richard, just not the accuracy. And now 17-7. The Blues did trail 16-7 late in the fourth quarter last week, and they came back to win it 2016, so they can do it if they want to.
Well, they have the horses a fumble right off the draw there, but I believe Finlayson just fell on top of it. Or rather, Dacre's hands in the air there, but Toronto, they came up with the recovery there. That's right, Mark. Toronto does have the horses, and they have the power and potential to come back here, but the way the Gales defensive unit is playing, if they can maintain the same level, I think that they should be able to hold on here. So they've come up big on a bunch of plays. A yard loss here for Toronto, 2nd and 11 from their own 34-yard line. Finlayson with the backs in the I set, backing to pass, and he is throwing, and it's, Burley stepping in front, almost picking off that pass intended for Pearson, as he has been picked on today quite a bit by the Toronto receivers. And now Shomek coming onto the field once again for the Toronto Blues with 10 minutes and 7 seconds to play.
Well, Burley is seeing a lot of action outside today, but that may stop, as Burley was in great position there and nearly picked that one off, as he had Dave Pearson beat on the play there.
Well, an interesting statistic just passed to me by Ryland Coyne is that the Toronto Blues have only managed 2 first downs in the entire second half so far.
Gales defense doing a job.
They certainly are. Shomek standing at the 25, gets a good kick away. Coming down to John Corrigan, he takes it at the 50-yard line up to the center field stripe and moves into the Toronto 50-yard line for a 10-yard run back there by John Corrigan. So with 9:44, the Gales offensive unit gets the ball back here on that 27-yard kick and a 12-yard return, with the Gales ahead by a score of 17-7.
Excellent returns by the Gales as they've started finding some blocking formations and returning the ball quite well. McKinnon on the last punt and Corrigan on this one. And so the Gales will have the ball at the 50-yard line of Toronto. Bobby Wright at the controls.
And Bobby Wright hands it off to Ross O'Doherty around the right-hand side of the line to the 45. He gets away from one tackler, into the 35, still on his feet, and into the 32-yard line is Ross O'Doherty on that 18-yard run from scrimmage. And he has been the workhorse for the Gales today and has been providing much of their ground attack today.
I'll tell you, Ross O'Doherty may be a little guy, but he sure runs with authority, as he gave number 30, John Sakunas, the straight arm there to break away from a tackle and pick up a really good as he put it down from the 50-yard line down to the 33-yard line.
Well, 17-yard pickup there for O'Doherty. That's 60 for him on the day. And Bobby Wright off to O'Doherty again. He only picks up a couple that time, going off the left-hand side of the line. And it looks like number 58 for the Gales there, Steve Hudson, and may have a slight knee injury as he limping back to the huddle, but he's still staying in for the Gales. None of these guys want to come out of there. They can taste it here. 8 minutes and 47 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. The Gales leading 17-7. That's the margin so far here in the game. And now the Gales are 2nd and 9 from the 32-yard line. Bissessar wide to the right for Bobby Wright. Play action for the Gales. Under pressure is Wright, but he goes in the sack as he's wrapped up there by Eric Upshaw and number 72, Bob Harris. Getting in to make the tackle on him as well, number 75, Joel Trickey, getting in to make a tackle. So they may have pushed the Gales out of field goal range of Bill Barrowville, but will depend on the placement of the ball.
I think you're right, Dan. I think we'll probably see Bill Barrowville punting this one up, as it would be about a 47-yard field goal. With the field and the condition it is there, it's very mushy in the middle. I don't think you'd want to try it.
Well, Barable got a 64-yard punt away his last attempt, and that went for a single, and he may be able to hold the Blues deep in their end here. As Barable takes it at his own Blues 50, gets another good one away. It's going down, angling out of bounds, and it bounces out, and a lucky bounce for the Gales. Bounces out at the 4-yard line, and that's what the Gales wanted.
Well, you couldn't have asked for a better punt by Bill Barable there, as he just angled that one into the coffin corner at the 4-yard line, and that's exactly what the Gales wanted to do. And now they'll have the Blues deep in their zone. Hopefully the Gales defense will hold them, and then they'll get the ball back in excellent position. I'm sure that's the strategy of the coaches.
Well, I think the Blues would have given up a single point there to have the ball at their own 35, but it took a bounce that it went out of bounds, the 37-yard punt by Barable. And if the Gales defensive unit can come up big here, the Blues are scrimmaging from inside their own 5-yard line. 1st and 10 from the 3. Finlayson with the backs in the I formation. Barking out the signals and hands it off straight ahead to McVeigh, and he picks up a couple, still on his feet, but he is marked down at the 5-yard line as the Gales hold him up there. So give him a pick up about 3, so they mark him down at the 6-yard line. Rather, Steve Allen in there replacing McVeigh at the fullback position.
Well, not too much running so far by the Blues, as they've shut that down quite well. 12 carries for 44 yards for McVeigh, 7 for 14 for Miller, and 2 for 5 for Allen.
7:06 to play here in the 4th quarter. 17-7 for the Gales. 2nd and 7 for the Blues. Finlayson back to pass, looking for a receiver, going over for Pearson, and it's out of bounds. Covered by Mark Burley there out at the 30-yard line, and the ball goes incomplete, and the Blues here will be forced to give the ball back to the Gales.
And Mark Burley, he sure is getting a workout here, as they've been going to his side through the whole game, but he's held his own. The rookie has, as he's started the backfield all season at first at the free safety spot, but then they moved him over to the corner.
Well, last week we saw the Blues in this, or the Gales in this position, and they conceded the safety touch, but I think if the Blues do that, they're down by 10 now. That would put them down by 12, and that may be too much of a margin for them to come back from. But we'll have to see what Chomick elects to do. He'll be kicking from the snow in the end zone, and that's what he does, is gives up the safety touch. So that gives the Gales a 19-7 lead here, and the Gales will be receiving the ball back as the Blues will be kicking away from their own 35-yard line.
So some strategy by the varsity Blues there, and we'll just have to see how well it works, as Lance Chomick, he does have a strong leg. He'll be kicking against the wind, though. But I think another part of that reason that they didn't want to punt it maybe is because of the strength of the returns on those punts by the Gales. Richard.
Well, strength of the returns indeed, Mark. We've seen a couple of good runbacks by McKinnon and John Corrigan, but I think kicking out of the end zone on a pile of snow is not my idea of a good time. So I think probably rather than risking a poor kick out of that snow, and of course giving the ball to the Gales in really good position, they're electing to kick off from the 35.
Well, the Gales' margin in the game now is 12 as they're ahead by a score of 19-7. 6 minutes, 43 seconds to play, as Chomick was over getting instructions from Doug Mitchell at the bench, so the Blues may be trying something here on this kickoff, but I'm sure the Gales will be aware of it and ready for anything here as Chomick. And that's what it is, a short kick coming down and taking it for the Gales, and jumping on it is number 71 Pendergast, and a flag on the play. And I believe the Gales have recovered the ball in any event.
Well, playing a little interference there was a varsity Blue, number 29. And that was Mo Martin for the varsity Blues, and we'll just have to see what's happening here.
Well, Jim Pendergast was all lined up to catch that kickoff, and he was hit just before he got a chance to receive it, and I'm sure that's what the penalty will be all about.
Well, Chomick just put a little too much leg into that one, kicked it a little deeper than he'd like to have. And it's going to be first down for the Gales at the Toronto 52-yard line.
Well, first down and 10 for the Gales. They lead 19-7, 6:35 to play on the clock now. Right, hands it off to O'Doherty around the right-hand side of the line. He's over the 45 to the 40 into the 35 at the 40, and he's tackled at the 25-yard line. Good pursuit there from Frank Popovic to tackle O'Doherty, but not before he got all the way into the Blues' 25-yard line.
Well, give a lot of credit on that run to Scott Sterling, as he just put a super block on John Sapanius to spring O'Doherty loose around the corner and let him turn it upfield. And that's 80 yards for Roscoe O'Doherty.
88 yards on the play there,
yards, sorry, on 11 carries.
First and 10 from the 25-yard line. And the give to O'Doherty again. Same play around the right-hand side of the line, but he's, well, still on his feet there as he threw a tackler there. Number 43, Frank Kaluni, appeared to have him all wrapped up, but O'Doherty shrugged him off.
Boy,
and went ahead and picked up a couple of yards.
O'Doherty giving the Varsity Blues defense headaches, as he's a very slippery ball carrier to tackle, and lots of power too. He's not a big guy, but he's just solid muscle, and he just keeps churning out in second and third efforts, and that's why he's been such a great runner so far in this game.
Well, now 2nd and 9 for the Gales at the Blues' 24-yard line. The Gales threatening here, and the handoff straight ahead to Scott Sterling, and he picks up about 5 yards, but not enough for the first down. And once again, Bill Barable and the kicking team will be forced to come in and try a field goal here, as Barable, he has missed a couple here in the game too from 26 yards. He missed one kicking into the wind from 36 yards.
This game was won on field position. The Gales would have it won hands down, as they've just been in most at the end of Varsity Blues most of this half and most of the second quarter as well. John Corrigan now, he's getting ready to hold. This is John's 5th year here, and this could be potentially his last game of his career.
Well, Corrigan puts it down. It's blocked by the Toronto Blues, and running up and jumping on it for the Gales is John Corrigan, as having ideas there for the Toronto Blues was number 24, Bill Maserati, of picking that up and running the length of the field. But Corrigan, in a heads-up play, jumped on the ball. So block field goal for the Toronto Blues there. And now they will be first down and 10 from their own 37-yard line.
Well, a play like that certainly has to give the U of T Blues a lot of enthusiasm, as the Gales yet again in another scoring position, and they come away with nothing on a good play there as they block that punt, and not only that, move the ball up over the 35-yard line.
Well, Finlayson all the way at quarterback for the Blues. He has Allen and Miller in the backfield in the I position, and the handoff, or the play action, dropping back to pass is Finlayson going down for Pearson against Burley, and going up for the ball. It's knocked away as Corrigan was there as well. And Mark Burley had Pearson all wrapped up on the play. So a good play there by the rookie Mark Burley. John Corrigan helping out as well.
There's a flag on the play. Just have to see what it's about. But Finlayson kind of hung that ball up there a bit, although Burley provided good coverage anyway and gave John Corrigan time to get back too.
Penalty was holding against the Gales, and that moves the Blues ahead and gives them a first down at their own 46-yard line. So penalty against the Gales, although Burley made a good play, the Blues still pick up a first down and move the ball out 10 yards. And now the Blues, 4.5 minutes to go here. A lot of motion to the right-hand side of the line. Allen, the lone back in the backfield. Finlayson dropping back to pass. Looking over the middle for number 73. Coming up from that, Adam Papadakis. And that was covered on the play by Marsland. And it goes incomplete. So the Blues are having their problems here on offense, as the Gales defensive unit coming up and playing tight on those receivers, as well as shutting off the running game.
Well, Ian Deacon doing a good job on Papadakis there. Papadakis had 19 catches for 316 yards and a touchdown in this season. And he's also had a touchdown in the playoffs.
Paulette in motion as well, along with Miller. Also on the far side is Andy Philippuk. Finlayson back to pass under pressure, and he throws it away. A flag on the play, and coming up, and Deacon are going for an interception, but he could not come up with it, and a penalty coming up here against the Toronto Blues.
Well, I'm sure it's holding, Dan, as two defensive linemen, Valente and Kynock, were just storming in there, and last-ditch effort, the offensive lineman just tripped up Kynock, and I'm sure that's a problem. But getting back to the defensive backfield of the Gales, Ian Deacon looked like he had an interception, and he just tripped over one of his players and popped up the ball.
Well, the Gales decline the penalty, rather. And Finlayson, who was hammered on the play by Bodner, was very slow to get up, and he is making his way slowly off the field.
And Finlayson calling for a timeout here. He's signaling, and they do call a timeout, and Finlayson now, he's going to talk it over with Doug Mitchell and the rest of the coaching staff. Of course, coaching staff for Varsity Blues, they have Doug Smith, who's a former coach of the Golden Gales, and he's gone to Toronto and is helping them out there.
Well, Richard Shomek was making his way onto the field, and we'll see if the Blues are going to go for it here. So getting down to the crucial time of the game, 3 minutes, 48 seconds. And the Blues down by 12. They need a field goal and they need 2 touchdowns, actually, being down by 12 points to come away here and take this game from the Gales. And they're just talking whether if they kick the ball back to Queens and Queens can put another drive together and eat up the clock, whether they will be able to get the ball back with enough time to do something.
Good point, Dan. They almost have to go for it here with 3:07 left and trailing by 12.
I tend to agree, Mark, as I don't think U of T can really afford to give up the ball at this stage in the game. They really need a first down to keep driving for a touchdown, or else things will be very bleak for them indeed.
Let me tell you, the crowd here is getting their money's worth, as this has been a most entertaining game, and the weather hasn't been too bad, and people seem to be enjoying the game.
Well, Finlayson is coming in. He limped into the huddle, but he's up over the ball now. 3rd down and 10. This could be the game for the Toronto Blues. As Finlayson dropping back to pass, he's looking over the middle, and he's going for Pearson to the far side of the field, and the reception is out of bounds, and Mark Burley doing a good job on Pearson, and the Gales have nullified a 3rd down attempt here by the Toronto Blues. Pearson made the catch, but he was out of bounds, and they turn it over on downs to Queens.
Well, that's certainly a heartbreaker for the Varsity Blues, as that was a very close play by the sidelines. If Pearson had been in bounds, it would have been a key first down for the U of T Blues, but as it is now, they don't even get the advantage of a punt, and the Gales take possession in U of T's end at their 47-yard line.
I don't know why they're picking on Mark Burley. I think he's done an excellent job so far on the receivers of the Blues.
Well, the handoff to Ted Bergeron straight ahead, and he picks up about 7 yards on the play, as Bergeron used mostly today as a blocking back for the Gales, but he shows his running ability there, picking up about 6.
And Bergeron seeing some action, like you said, Dan, mostly blocking, but he has 3 carries for 8 yards. Of course, the leading rusher is Ross O'Doherty, 11 carries for 88 yards.
The Gales leading 19-7 with under 3 minutes to play, and the handoff again, this time to Scott Sterling. He goes ahead and fights for a first down over the 35 into the 33-yard line. And O'Doherty, or rather Sterling, doing a good job of rushing there, pushing the ball inside the 35-yard line. Just a reminder that should the Gales go on and win this, they'll be playing next Saturday at 1 o'clock at Varsity Stadium in Toronto in the Vanier Cup against the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. And for anyone that's listening that would like to go to that game and watch the Gales in action, should they come out victorious here, can pick up tickets to the Vanier Cup from Bill Sparrow at the athletic office.
What a game that will be.
It certainly would. And now once again is Bobby Wright, hands it off to Bergeron again, and he muscles his way up and picks up about 8 yards.